Hi there, all you wonderful Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collides fans. Wow, I'm one sentence in and I'm already screwing up.
All one of you, all one fans.
All fans, yeah. Hello, hello. My name is Gar.
Eh,
We're watching Speed Gaming 4, and this is a run of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, featuring
woohoo.
runners Nobody War and Shadow Sid, both fantastic members of the community. And I'm joined in the booth today by the Schwantz27. Schwantz, how is it going?
What up, Gar? It is a Worlds Collide Wednesday, so that means that we are going to be featuring two fantastic runners, Nobody War and Shadow Sid. They have graciously allowed us to rebroadcast their Tournament of the Month qualifying run. So, Gar, can you explain a little bit about what the Tournament of the Month is, and specifically what this particular flag set is?
I would be happy to. So, our tournament of the month is, as you may have guessed, a monthly recurring tournament set, although each month is a different set of flags. So, on week one, there's like a qualifying round. That's what we're going to show you tonight. And then subsequent weeks, we pare down all of the contestants until we have a single winner with a 1 week break, and then the week after that, we get a new tournament and the cycle repeats itself. This week, or this month rather, we have the Vanilla Boss Rush flag set, and it is about as vanilla as you are going to get with Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. All of the random encounters are vanilla, all of the boss encounters are vanilla, and all of the fixed encounters, like the ones you might see in the Serpent Trench or on the way to the floating continent, those are all going to be the same as well. If you're familiar with the base game, you're going to be familiar with this flag set. The goal
Yeah.
here...
I'm sorry, go ahead, Gar.
No worries. The goal here is going to be for them to kill 15 bosses. You can see over on Shadow Sid's side, that is objective number A. And objective C, they can unlock what we call the KT skip, where we deposit your party right on the switches. You get to skip a good 5-ish minutes of walking plus a boss fight. And you can get that skip by accomplishing 3 of those 5 objectives right there. You see Magi Master right there at the top. Because this is vanilla, we know where all of the bosses are. So it basically becomes, which ones can I comfortably take? Which ones are going to be the fastest for me to do? And we do include one random boss down there at the end. Tonight's random boss is going to be for them to kill Haidon. So we'll see if any of our runners elect to go for the skip here.
Yeah, so while I was doing my particular run here, the interesting thing is that in the set of flags, bosses do not grant any experience similar to how it is in the vanilla game. So you're going to have to get your levels somehow. So it'll be interesting to see what our runners decide to do in order to get levels. So they're going to have to take a lot of encounters by taking the Moogle Charm off, etc., etc. So knowing that there are vanilla statue bosses, the skip is extremely helpful here because you could send in a single party just up the middle track to defeat everything, and then you could regroup, warp out of Kefka's Tower, warp back at the statues, and send 2 characters to the left and 2 characters to the right instead of, splitting up your party. And the fact that Haydn is one of the bosses to defeat in the skip makes that really palpable, because in this set of options, the no undead flag is off, and I know that's a double negative, and they should be destroyed and nuked off the face of the earth. But what that means exactly is you could just use a Revivifier Phoenix down, and that's the dead boss. So very easy boss to kill.
Yes, indeed.
So also note, just as like a tracking aside, some administrivia. We currently have the Magicite tracker. It says 15. That is what we're going to be used to count up for our runners what bosses they have defeated. So that is going to be our boss killing tracker, just in case you're wondering. So we'll track characters because why not? But that's what we're going to be used to tracking bosses, and it will not be tracking espers, just as an FYI. There might be a third runner that wants to join as a late ad, and we're going to punch them in. So I'm going to mute while I punch them in, and Gar, you can go over sort of what your strategy was when you did this particular set of options here, because you've run this seed already, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So the way that I approached the seed was kind of like a uh, uh, basically split up into two distinct phases. It's what can I do in the world of balance, and what can I do in the world of ruin. And I didn't necessarily do a whole lot of crossing back and forth between the two. So the biggest problem, like Deshaun alluded to earlier, is that normally in like a normal race flag set, bosses would grant experience, and that's primarily how you would get your character levels. But because this is vanilla, or at least as vanilla as we're going to get for tonight, bosses do not award EXP, so you are going to have to find somewhere to grind. And that is, I would say, it's probably the major challenge is like, where is the most effective place to grind? For me, what I wound up doing, and I'm not sure if this is correct, watching other streamers, it probably wasn't, but what I wound up doing was going down the river. One, there are fixed encounters there, which award a pretty hefty amount of experience. We do have a pretty generous experience multiplier, specifically because we have to, or our runners are going to have to grind. But anyway, go down the Leet River. You find all the pterodons and cephalids and all the wonderful stuff there. And at the end of that is Ultros 1, so a very easy boss. And since our unlock objective is to kill 15 of them, it seems like a pretty decent idea. But other strategies that I've seen runners do involve taking off the Moogle Charm and going into the Sealed Gate Cave and fighting all of the undead enemies there and just using Revivifies to kill them. They also award a bunch of experience. And because this seed is open world, normally our seeds are character gated, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. But the short version of it is that anybody can go anywhere. There are no checks that are gated behind characters specifically. Any checks that would normally be character specific are instead just available for you to get whenever you want.
Yeah, that's the thing that's also interesting. So it allows you to sort of, I know that the term plando is sort of like a pejorative, right? Because usually that means that the seed is going to be very hard and very trolly. But in this set of options, you could really plan out what your route is, and that's sort of what I did for. That's what I did when doing some of my practice runs. What I did was the second option that you said, right? Which was take off the Moogle Charm and fight the undead enemies in the Sealed Gate Cave. Basically, I went and did some free progression in order to get some items, since in this particular set of options, the quote-unquote free checks give high-tier items instead of espers or characters. So that's what I did first, looking for Revivifies. I stocked up on about 20 to 25 of those, and then took the Moogle Charm off in the Sealed Gate Cave. It took about 20 minutes, from the start of the seed to the end of, the Sealed Gate Cave. But I was level almost 30 by the time I got out of there. So you get a ridiculous amount of XP, and all you have to do is throw Revivifies at everything, because all of the mobs are undead, right? So I did that. I would do some of my easy bosses, knock off all my World of Balance ones. And I also knocked out Haydn, because I just threw a Revivify at that as well. And then right before I did my Cyan's Dream to get Rex Soul for the KT skip, I went into the Dinosaur Forest and fought some Tyrannosaurs, hoping to not get one shot by its spells in order to get to like level 45-ish on one of my characters, right? Because I found that the statue bosses are so much harder than they normally are, right? Since normally they're scaled down to what your progression is, but in this seed there is no scaling at all. The statue bosses actually gave me a lot more trouble than than Final Kefka, believe it or not. So I was cognizant of that fact. So I usually, the Dinosaur Forest has 2 enemies with the most XP in the game. So that's why I chose to grind there. But unless you're like level 30, there's no way you're beating those enemies. So that was sort of my route that I went on this particular seed. We'll see what our runners decide to do.
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier that there is no free progression. Basically what that means is that instead of getting characters or espers, you will instead get a high-tier item. In our normal race flags, that's generally not what you're looking for if you're completing checks. Normally you would want to see either a character or an esper. But here is actually extremely beneficial because it gives you a ton of early power, and you're going to need it in order to survive, really. Especially, that very first encounter that you take in the sealed gate. You're level 3, and they are not. So, it is very, very possible for them to just one-shot you.
Yeah, the other thing that I really like about doing the no free progression stuff first in order to figure out what your party is doing, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, and I didn't figure this out until like the second time I played a seed, was that all of the espers are also vanilla, meaning the spells they teach you and the rates that they teach you at are the same as it is in the base game. So that means you're not going to probably find those really, really good spells, right? There's 2, I think, espers that teach Fire 3, Tritok and Phoenix. There's 1 esper that teaches Bolt 3, and there's 1 esper that teaches Ice 3. So you're probably not going to have a magic heavy character, right? You're going to really lean in on the items that you get for physical damage and or the commands that your characters have. Great to find somebody with throw, great to find, some of those other really high tier commands, but you're not going to probably find great magic in the seed. So that's something to also keep an eye out on. Getting those high tier items will be good, and we'll see what kind of builds our runners tend to go with. We did have a late 3rd entry into our race here. Let's see if we got this. Yep. So chests and shops are still randomized. They have random items, and the shops will be selling random things for a random amount. Let me double check that I'm not lying there. Yep. So shop's inventory is shuffle plus random at 20% random, and the prices are between 75% and 125% of what they normally are. There are no breakable rods, but there are shields and super balls. Super balls are not nearly as important in this flag set because every single boss you're going to kill how tough they are, and you don't necessarily need to kill bosses at level 3. You should probably just do a little bit of grinding first.
Yeah, you're basically shoehorned into grinding.
So the other thing that I forgot to mention is, since it's open world, we all automatically have access to the Curse Shield, and the Curse Shield is set at 20 battles. Now, normally that number sounds astoundingly high, but when you have to do fixed encounters in order to level up, 20 battles goes pretty fast.
And for reference, in our Ultra Sleep flag set, the decurse requirements are anywhere between 3 to 15 battles.
Yeah, so what I would almost always uncurse the shield in this format. So that's what it is, and it looks like we are off and running. We start with Shadow with Rage, Setzer with Slot, and Terra with Steel. So we do get a few Rages off the rip, and unlike in the vanilla game, there is no leap concept. You fight an enemy, and you get their Rage. And it looks like we got 3 different directions here, Gar.
Yeah, you love to see it. So One of the things with Rage is that Stray Cat is probably the best Rage in the game, at least most of the time. And because of vanilla encounters, we know exactly where the Stray Cats are. So it'll be interesting to see if our runners, one, know where they are as well, and then two, are able to effectively utilize it.
Yeah, that's a great point that I never even actually considered. So I didn't I forgot that all the encounters were vanilla, which means Stray Cat is found where, Gar, exactly?
It is around Doma. Around Doma or after the Phantom Forest, but before you jump onto, well, around Ikea as well. Basically, like that whole stretch of the game. After Imperial Camp. And hey, how about an experience egg?
All right.
For Yakko Wacko.
Now that experience egg will double the experience of whomever is equipping that experience egg. So that is a great find right away. That means that he is going to be having not as much to grind for. Very nice.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, you did see in that shop there is a Minerva. It's pretty expensive. So the shops and treasure is shuffled. So that's sort of the randomizer kicking in there, but most of the rest of this is pretty vanilla, which is very different from what I'm used to here. And Nobody War looks like they are going to head into Zen. They are going to go through the Collapsing House. Collapsing House is considered no free progression, so he is not going to get a Esper or a character here, but he is going to get a high tier item.
One of the side effects that I think is pretty neat is that because you're doing a lot of grinding, you're also getting a lot of money. Well, depending on where you grind, but most of the time you're going to end up with like some hundreds of thousands of GP. So you're going to be able to afford basically anything you want. So money in this seed or this flag set really not going to be too much of an issue for our runners.
Yeah, little Jermaine Dupri, money ain't a thing. I found that after I did my sealed gate grind, I was well over 100,000. So I could buy the Tizen Thief Esper. So what I would usually do is I'd go right back there and grab it. Because while you don't need any Espers or character requirements to get into Kefka, we are still looking for things that make that final battle helpful, right? We want to find Siren. That's the only Esper that teaches the mute spell. We want to find either Odin or Raiden, or some way of teaching X Zone, which I believe is Phantom.
Or the Cursed Ring.
Or I didn't even think about that either. So we want those goodies for Final Kefka.
Yeah, absolutely. Any kind of player power is going to be phenomenal here. And their Esper bonuses are going to be vanilla as well. I forget which Esper has which bonus, but there are some with like Magic Power +2 or Strength +2. Strength +2 especially in this kind of seed is very, very valuable.
Yep, so Nobody War is doing what I said that I would do. Grab a fat stack of Revivifies. Let's see what type of enemies he's going to choose to use them on. I know that him and I both ran the same practice seed, and we exchanged our strategies. So I'll be interested to see how different his strategy was than mine. Meanwhile, Sid is doing the Velt check. We start with 3 characters, and he found some dried meat along the way, so he's going to give it to a ghost, and he's going to pick up an Esper here. Which Esper it is, we'll have to find out. As I mentioned earlier, we are... that's Kieran's, so that's a pretty good one. We are not tracking the Espers via the Esper tracker that you see on the screen. That is for how many bosses our runners have killed. So don't be confused when I'm not incrementing them when we do find Espers.
Force armor for Yakko Wacko. Not the best armor. Will work in a pinch, but we've seen Minervas in shops. Minervas are generally better than Force armors in basically every situation.
Yeah, trying to get Sid back here. I don't know why it's not working for me. Grr.
No, my name is Gar.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can get him back. Oh, there we go. We caught a glimpse of him. His stream
Hey, there
looks
he is.
fine. There we go. Is the evade glitch fix off? Let's double check that. The answer is no. So all of the bug fixes are on. So evade bug is on, or evade has been fixed. Vanish Doom has been fixed. That would have been nice to be off, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Vanish doesn't work on every boss. Oh no.
Oh jeez. Oh no, did he save?
Oh man. That is. Oh, thank goodness he did save. I don't know how recent of a save that was, but yeah, unlike in other seeds, we know exactly what that spot is, and it's Doomgaze, and it's awful. However, if you do defeat Doomgaze, you're 1/3 of the way towards your skip, so probably didn't want to see Doomgaze at level 3, but maybe Nobody War will come back later for that.
Yeah, maybe. I think when I did this, I wound up killing Doomgaze, and it was really tough for me to figure out if I wanted to kill Doomgaze or if I wanted to go slum it through Ebbett's Rock and try and kill Hydon.
Yeah, I went Ebbett's Rock because it's the way I routed it. I did Ebbett's Rock right after Sealed Gate Cave, so world map management is something that is a skill that people don't tend to think about as much. But the less time you're in the airship, the more time you could spend fighting fights, right? So when I planned out my route, I tried to clump things in the same area together. So after the Sealed Gate, I would go to Ebbett's Rock, because that is probably the closest place on the map to Ebbett's Rock. It's kind of in the middle of the bottom right-hand corner. So I went there. In my practice seeds, I was going there anyway, because it's an easy boss kill. You just throw a Revivify at it, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I was actually talking with another runner about this, and it's like, is it faster to just, because you can instantly find Doomgaze with the Search the Skies option, is it faster to do that even though in this set of circumstances Doomgaze is so much more deadly than Hydon, or do you do Ebbett's Rock? It's a really potentially time-consuming check, very very time variant, I would say.
Oh,
but the boss is killed in 10 seconds.
What's the matter? You don't like RNG in your randomizer?
Oh, not even a little bit. I want all my seeds to be deterministic.
I mean, we are doing a speedrun, right? So eliminating RNG is like basically quintessential speedrun. But yeah, that is a good point to raise, because with the Search the Sky spot, you're right there versus trekking through all of the coral and stuff. Originally, when I did my route, I actually took the Moogle Charm off in Ebbett's Rock too, which I know that sounds even worse. But half of the enemies in there are also undead, and they give a lot of XP. So I was also leveling up there as well. But I decided I'm getting more than enough levels just doing that route through Sealed Gate Cave and then going to Dinosaur Island versus doing Ebbett's Rock gasp with my Moogle Charm off. And that's Alexander from the Lone Wolf here. So maybe this is the place where Yakko Wacko decides to grind. Because the soldiers there, they actually do give XP for the Kefka at Narsh fight, so this might be part of his plan here.
Maybe. He was in the Sealed Gate Cave earlier, did not take any fights in there, so I'm not 100% sure how much practice he has done on this flag set, so
the problem with doing this is that you have to split your party up into 2 parts. So maybe he will level up both parties by, moving both of them against the soldiers, because the soldiers are not very difficult, right? They're pretty easy. So we'll see how it goes.
if he is just going to take a straight shot to Final Kefka, or to Final Kefka, to to Kefka here, just regular plain old Kefka, that's kind of dangerous because he's level 3, and Kefka isn't particularly threatening, but he could wipe you at level 3. It's like he'll do your max HP and damage.
Yeah, so in some of the vanilla speedruns of this game, they do like what's called a Kefka rush, where this is the final boss for them, right? So we'll see if that's what happens here. It's going to take a while to beat this Kefka.
I did see Luridin in the Rage list there. Luridin potentially allows you to cast a spell called Landslide, which is non-elemental, non-reflectable, and pretty high magic power. Basically equivalent to the spell Flare. But Yakko, realizing that he may have made a mistake, opts to reset. And is just going to hook it down the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand this play if you're like, well, maybe Kefka's going to be a bit harder than I thought here, right? So, I will double check to make sure that he's read the flags, because if he hasn't, this is going to be pretty awful for him. So, give me a second while I do that.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those flag sets where, especially if you're accustomed to doing like regular races, this is kind of jarring. But he does go and fight Welk here. Welk should be no problem for him.
Yeah, I mean, Welk, as long as you don't hit him in the Gru hole.
Well, here comes a Gru. And it looks like there is an attack queued up, so...
Yeah, this might be devastating as well. I mean, or not. I'm so used to... That's the thing, like, when you get really used to, you know, bosses being scaled, you don't realize how either easy or difficult they actually are. Like, on my route, I routed in Esper Mountain, and Ultros 3 is surprisingly tanky in vanilla. That's because you're supposed to sketch him to win the fight, right? That's supposed to be a fight. You just do it. So
it's a lot like Vargas, where he's got a bunch of HP, but that's because you're supposed to use the Blitz command and pummel him to death.
Yep.
So if you don't do that, you're chewing through. I don't even know his base HP total. Thousands.
It's pretty high. It's not as high as Welk's Shell though. Question from the chat for Double Down, and we could chew on this. Best Esper in this format, Tritalk, Phoenix, or other. I have to go with Phoenix, because you get your calmness protection, and it teaches curative spells, and it teaches re-raise, or like life spells, and it teaches Fire 3. And I think there's an Esper bonus on it too. I have to double check. But that one to me is definitely the best one. What do you think, Gar?
I think I would agree. Fire 3 is a very useful spell. It's very quick. There aren't a whole lot of bosses that absorb or nullify it. So, and that Fire 3 gets taught at a rate that's like actually reasonable. I think it's
times 3. Yeah. Versus on Tritalk, everything's times 1.
Yeah. So Tritalk is very cool because you get all the elemental flavors, but times 1 is very rough.
Let's see here.
Nobody War is in fact taking the grind in the Sealed Gate Cave, making great use of those revivifies to kill these Ings.
Yeah, so there's no bonus on Phoenix. Whereas, what was the other one we were debating? Tritalk? Tritalk
It also has a bonus.
Yeah, it has magic power +2, so Tritalk is really good. But I still think Phoenix is probably better in this situation, because we don't know when we're going to get Golem or Fenrir, and unlike in Vanilla, there's only one Esper that has life 3 on it, and it's that one, right? So...
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble with this Welk here. Should get through it just fine, just very long.
Oh, you are correct. Double down. Esper bonuses are random in this flag set.
That's
Hey,
down
there
for
goes
Yakko.
Welk. And that's going to be his 4th character. So I will track characters, but the Espers are the number of bosses that have been killed, so I think Yakko Wacko's our first on the board, right?
Yes, he is.
Very good. And Go-Go with mimicking, being able to mimic and use rage is great.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. Again, we know exactly where a Stray Cat is. And even if we didn't want to go for Stray Cat, we have lured in already. And Siegfried, although that one's maybe a little bit less useful.
Yeah, Landslide and Flare are about the same magic power, and one has a much shorter casting time. Plus, Siegfried is weak to a lot of elements, so as a rage user, you take on the strengths and weaknesses of the enemies that you rage with, right? So Siegfried is not actually very tough. So you got to be careful with that.
On the flip side, he is Siegfried. The fact that you can rage him at all is kind of funny to me. But Yakko in the World of Balance South Figaro Cave, going to attempt to fight the tunnel armor here. Notably, he has not leveled up in between Welk and this, so
he does have a Thunder Rod though, so he could do the vanilla speedrun strat of just throw a Thunder Rod at it and kill it.
Yep.
Although he is level 3, so it won't do nearly as much damage as it does in the vanilla speedrun. So
looks like he's raging Wildcat here. I wonder if he thinks that is Stray Cat. It is not. There is a big difference between the two. Wildcat you see using Blaster there.
yeah, Brontor also is one that you would think is really good, but it's terrible. It's Disaster, which basically inflicts a bunch of status ailments on the other party. Although he just pulled out Fire 3, so maybe I misread what rage that was.
I didn't see what rage. Go. Ooh.
That's not fun. Well, he's still the first runner to have a boss kill, so there's that.
He's staying on the board.
I did not realize that. I didn't realize the tunnel armor. Well, I mean that's tunnel armor's gimmick, right? You're supposed to learn how to use the runic ability, so it makes sense that some different bosses come out here, or different spells come out there, rather. So we'll see what Yakko wants to do next here, as we've got both Sid and Nobody War in the cave to the sealed gate. Nobody War back in the gate again.
I don't know why he left the first time. Shadow Sid, I know, is also using this opportunity to grind, using those Revivifies. Yakko thinking that he is going to thinking that he's going to grind here, but runs up against these Red Wolves, and yeah, you're not supposed to encounter these until much, much later, so these are just going to chew through his party.
Yeah, I'm going to send him a message, give him a little pointer.
So on Nobody War side, it looks like he found a ribbon somewhere and he gave it to Setzer so that decursing that shield becomes a lot easier. Shadow Sid does not have that same luxury, it looks like.
Yeah, you know what I did when I did this seed? I did my favorite strat when decursing a shield. I used Terra, I think, to decurse the shield because she had a heal rod, or she could equip a heal rod. That's my favorite thing to do, is berserk your character with the heal rod, and you're good.
That's not a strategy that I thought of, but hey, it works.
Yeah, it's certain. I mean, the only problem was that I had Shadow as my Valiant Knife user, and that doesn't work well with with a Valiant Knife user. But
Yeah.
but still, you're not actually using your weapons when you're doing this grind, right? You're just using Revivifies for 10 minutes straight.
Exactly.
Ooh, wow! It's character number 5 here with Sketch and Health. Deciding to leave Gao on the bench, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, it makes sense. You've got a lot more power in the party as it stands.
Oh, I guess Brontor is Fire 3. I thought Brontor was Disaster. Maybe that's Brachiosaur? I'm getting my dinosaurs mixed up.
It is one of the dinosaurs. I just don't remember which one. Not Tyrannosaur. Tyrannosaur, I believe, is Meteo.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, you're right. A rage ability is Fire 3. Good to know. But, yeah, that's Leader dead. So that's boss number 2 down for Yakko Wacko.
Yakko Wacko, technically in the lead, but still level 3, so gonna have to find somewhere to grind. Hopefully he picks up on the sealed gate strat, or somewhere else.
There you go. Do some checks and some forced encounters in it. Oh, you were so close. Yeah, so when I originally was planning out my route, my thought was to do so way back when, before there was vanilla, or before there was enemy mob shuffling and boss shuffling, right? When the randomizer was kind of like this, actually, except you had scaling and stuff like that and character gating. A lot of runners would do Burning House first, because the bombs are not that difficult to deal with, and you get pretty decent XP there. So when I first started planning out my route for this, I said to myself, all right, well, let's just do Burning House for some levels. And then I realized that Cave to the Sealed Gate is better because of the undead enemies. I don't have to risk wiping in the middle of, the Burning House check.
Yeah, exactly.
So some interesting history about the randomizer and how far we've come, right? From doing seeds like this to doing everything almost completely randomized.
And now we're back to doing seeds like this. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. So with the Tournament of the Month, whomever wins the Tournament of the Month gets to specify the flag set for the next month. And the winner of one of the tournaments was Jackamus. And he's been around in the community for a long time. And his favorite strategy of just doing races is to run at things, right? So this type of flag set where you kind of take off the Moogle Charm and do some grinding, and then you run at things for the rest of the seed, kind of makes sense to me as something that he would come up with, right? So.
Oh yeah, for sure. If anybody here is familiar with Free Enterprise, very, very Free Enterprise-esque. You don't have to deal with sirens or anything like that, but...
Oh, it's another character there, too. Wow.
Everyone's favorite Moogle.
Yakko's getting his pick of the litter when it comes to characters. That was the one thing that I was hoping wouldn't happen, is not finding characters. Because, when you plan out your route, one of the other things I forgot to mention is it's 15 bosses, and that includes the 5 that are in Kefka's Tower. So what I did, and what some other runners also do, is they only beat 10 or so bosses and then go into Kefka's Tower to beat the last 5, right? And the problem with going into Kefka's Tower without having at least 6 characters is you're going to be fighting some bosses with just one character, and that's definitely not ideal. As I think Sid picks up his first, thank you, his first boss kill of the game. And gets Go-Go too, I believe.
Go-Go was going to be after this wealth check here coming up.
Oh,
so he'll get it here shortly.
So yeah, so I expect to see our runners actually killing 10 bosses and then going into the tower somehow.
It's either 10 or it's 11, because if you get 11, you do get to skip the Inferno spot. So if they have mapped that out, then yeah, that's going to be very beneficial for them.
Yep, so there we see Go-Go behind Welk. I actually didn't do Welk in this seed. I decided instead of doing Welk, because it was kind of out of the way on my route, I just did Magitech 1 and 2 and was done, so I didn't have to go all the way up to Narsh.
I think I also did Magitech 1 and 2. But that's something that I'm going to have to look at and see, like, what's the most efficient routing through here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the encounters in the Imperial camp don't give XP. So that was a lot of fighting all for naught.
He does pick up a Moogle, but at this point, you know, that's not entirely useful.
Speaking of not entirely useful, that is Go-Go for Sid. I'm kidding. Especially with, you know, as I said, the Rage command, and being able to mimic rods in this flag set is especially nice.
100%.
I don't think we'll be seeing much of it, but it looks like Sid is continuing his trek up Narsh.
Yeah, and at Sid's levels, this will go very differently than the way it went for Yakko. He'll just basically steamroll over Kefka. No big deal. And Nobody War wraps up the Sealed Gate Cave. I did see Terra at level 38 there. She must have gotten the EXP egg to hold on to.
Yep, so that was, like I said, you take the Moogle Charm off in the Sealed Gate, you just walk through it, get the reward at the end. Even though we know the reward is not a Esper or an item, or Esper, a character rather, you're still leveling up your characters, and you know, level 30 will kill things pretty quick.
Oh, without a doubt. So now that he's got his levels, he's going to start his dominance of the World of Balance. But he is, in fact, looking for a stray cat, it seems.
And there we go. Very nice. This is a strategy I completely missed, so it's nice to see, you know, it play out in real time. Yakko heading to the Phantom Train, where you also need to fight some battles, at least one. The XP of these battles is not great, though. That's the only issue with the Phantom Train.
Yeah, it's not great. On the flip side,
it's better than nothing.
To turn it off. Yeah, it's better than nothing. And you can like Phoenix Down or Revivify the train here and one-shot it that way. So it is an easy boss to take care of. I don't really hate this play. Mildane raiding with a party of 2. Thank you so much, and I hope you both are doing well. You're watching Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide on SpeedGaming. It's the tournament of the month. This is the actual tournament of the month qualifier seed, so if you have run it before, please do not spoil it.
Although we kind of are spoiling it, I guess. Not really. We just ran it and we know what to expect. It looks like Nobody War is putting Gao in his party, and oh no, are we doing? We got Wind God Shadow there. Very nice. You love
That's
to
a
see it.
vanilla strat if I've ever seen one.
All right, so that's his first boss down.
Yep, and Shadow Sid did take care of Kefka atop the mountain, so he is coming down.
Yep, he is at 3 bosses killed, and Yakko is at 2 bosses killed. So we are using the Magicite indicators for bosses killed, and it looks like Shadow is very hungry.
We're getting the gobble snap snarf.
I remember when the Coral Chest used to also say, I don't think it was gobble, snarf, snap. It was something else. It was like munch, 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 or whatever.
Munch, munch, munch.
God, Ebbett's Rock used to be so much worse. And in the beta build, you actually get warped to the end as soon as you hit 22 or more coral. So it's progressed much better over the years. It used to be quite awful.
That's one change that I'm personally looking forward to, because that's my biggest problem. I just can't seem to find a hungry chest when I need it. So
yeah. Well, I think, you know, variance for variance sake is bad, but trying to make some of these longer checks more palpable is something that I certainly welcome. I coded up a little thing in my own branch of Worlds Collide where I made it so that the longer checks always give progression, like Fanatic's Tower, Elite River, you know, the really annoyingly long ones that people don't like doing. And yeah, it gives you more dead checks on some of the faster ones, but that's the goal, right? Is to make it so that you have to do those other ones.
Oh yeah, for sure. In the usual race set, no one really likes doing Elite River. You'll see some people occasionally do it if they're if they have no choice or for the memes or whatever. But
yeah.
Making it guaranteed progression, I think would incentivize it quite a bit more.
Yeah, that's boss number 3 dead for Yakko. Easy little revivify action there. Yeah, I know that some runners will do it if they're racing as a way to say, I hope something good is here to give me a leg up on my opponent. And oh no, we've got Nobody War. Thank goodness the shell's out of MP. Sorry, you don't win the seed, Nobody War, if you kill the shell. The shell, I think, has 50,000 HP, so if he actually manages to kill the shell, I would be shocked.
Yeah, but because this is the first fight and he doesn't have a whole lot of stats associated with him, even hitting the shell a bunch is not really in any danger, and in fact, down it goes, and that's boss number 2 for Nobody War.
And that's character number 5 for him, it looks like. Yep, because he also got Gao.
Yakko wrapping up his coral here. I am very nervous for him right now.
He'll be fine. All you gotta do is revivify the boss. Just make sure that he doesn't cast, I don't think he could do anything first turn that will kill your party.
I'm not sure if he can, multi-target poison or multi-target poison. Multi-target bio the first turn.
He could use that Virite spell, but I think he only does that as a counterattack. Speaking of first turns, what's up, SpeedGaming 2? Raiding in with a party of 33. A huge group. Come take your seats at the table at the back. We've laid it all out for you. We're playing Worlds Collide, the Final Fantasy VI open world randomizer, and we're seeing Yakko Wacko take down Haydn and the Haydn Knights, everybody's favorite jazz band. For boss kill number 4, he's actually in the lead here in terms of progression. But he's still hungry. No, he's still on level 3.
Nice Chrono Trigger reference there.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, nothing gets by me like that.
Oh no, I'm sorry. He's on level 5.
Yeah, did take those encounters at the Imperial camp, but like you said earlier, they don't really give a whole lot of experience.
Hey, and here another stray cat sighting.
Meow.
Unicorn Esper coming out of Ebbett's Rock. That's a really nice one to have for the final battle with being able to cure or remove all of those nasty status effects that Train does. Plus, it does teach Cure too. Really nice Esper to find.
Yeah, Train is the bane of many a runner, including myself.
And unlike in vanilla, we actually fixed the evade bug in Worlds Collide. So if you are dark, you do sometimes swing and miss. That does happen.
The goggles, they do something. Nobody War is saving in the Returner's hideout.
Oh, this means we're going for a river ride.
There is whitewater rafting adventure.
You know what? I don't hate this play from either Yakko or Nobody War. It looks like Yakko's doing it too. I hate it more from Nobody War's perspective because he's already at level 31. But as I mentioned earlier, all of the bosses in this particular set of options are not scaled. So those statue bosses at the end are awful. So you're going to need more than 30 levels, right? I think in our standard quote-unquote Ultros League seeds, low 30s is not that big of a problem going into Kefka's Tower, but in this seed, it certainly is.
Yeah, I wouldn't go into Kefka's Tower at any level lower than 40 under this flag set. Dealing with Goddess and Poltergeist in particular are just two of the nastiest bosses in the game. Doom, yeah, he's whatever. But...
You know what's funny? I have had more problems with Doom than I have with the other two. And it's a combination of getting trolled by N-Cross and the fact that you need both lots of armor for his physical, because he counters everything you do with a physical attack, right? So you need armor for that. And his second phase, he casts Auto Reflect and Image. So you have to have a way to deal with damage to him, either that's AoE or goes through Reflect or is defense ignoring, right? Because he does Force Field. He's much, much harder, I think, than the other two bosses. But that's just been my experience on these couple of seeds.
I will say that Poltergeist is vulnerable to stop, so if you have the stop spell, I don't want to call him free, but it's free-ish. Goddess is just
Swordtech 6 was really helpful. I got it in a few practice seeds. I did not get it in this particular seed, but that will also cast stop.
Yep.
Another
Goddess
good
is
grind.
just rude, no matter what you do. So.
Yeah, for sure. Love token, especially as we were talking about earlier, the magic spells really aren't there. So with relying heavily on physical offense, Goddess's love token makes things miserable. Shadow Sid in Daryl's Tomb taking the Moogle Charm off. This is another dungeon where most of the enemies are undead. But not all of them. So that's why I didn't do what he's doing with this Moogle Charm strategy, but I do like this one here too.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think what I did was I grinded outside of Narsh. You run into the Reach Frogs and the other assorted enemies there. Probably not the best place, but none of them can kill your party. At least, like, not all in one go. So that makes them a little bit of a safer option than, say, the Hoovers in the Miranda Desert, which are vulnerable to instant death. But if you don't have instant death, they have a ton of HP, and they counter a whole lot of stuff with Sandstorm? Sandstorm.
Yeah, so this Ultros fight's not going to be a problem here. So that's one of the reasons why I liked doing the Elite River, because the boss is really easy at the end of it. And we have a lock with natural magic and tools. I did not see this in my seed, so interesting to see the different routes here. Yakko is going to also pick up lock at the end of this river ride.
Yeah, and with the levels that he's hitting from these pterodons and other enemies here, should be able to take it on, no problem.
I wonder if he's going to go on a bathroom break and put the controller on the route. That would be a true MVP play. Just to be like, listen, guys, I have to go to the bathroom real fast. Let's go and continuously ride on that river. Was that level 20? Is that what I saw?
I think so. So the experience multiplier here is very, very generous.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. It's almost like, we're both good commentators.
What?
So with that experience egg and the 8 times XP, I think standard is like 4 or 5. Actually, it might even be lower than that.
3. I think it's 3. 3, 5, 5 are the multipliers. I just don't remember which one's which.
Yeah, you might be right. It might be 3. So it's much higher than we're used to. So this is a good shout from Yakko here going on the river.
Yeah, this is exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, he stands to gain a lot more XP than Nobody War does, because as you go up higher, you need more XP to gain levels, right? It's like an exponential graph. It gets slower and slower towards the top. No, bell curve. I don't know what I'm talking about. I used to do math, but now I don't.
Nobody War is in a cave.
South Figaro, World of Balance.
Okay, it is World of Balance. Okay, I didn't know if it was World of
Balance. The cave is hungry because I heard the tummy rumbling. So here's Yakko at the end of Ultros here. This will be a quick fight for him.
Yeah, should have no problem there. Nobody War, not going to have any problems with this tunnel armor here. So I was curious though, because the monsters in a box, which are normally shuffled, those are all vanilla as well. So all of our runners know where Katana Soul is, and they have a cat scratching shadow.
With a Valiant Knife, I think. Or at least when I used Shadow, I put a Valiant Knife on him.
So, funny thing about that is that there is a bug with Valiant Knife and Cat Scratch, and I'm not sure if it's...
I think it's a feature.
Well, I'm not sure if the bug is that it doesn't get like the revenge property that Valiant Knife has, or if it doesn't get the ignores defense property. That's something that I personally am going to have to test because I'm not 100% sure. But what happens is that the ×4 multiplier that Cat Scratch gives does not apply to the Valiant Knife.
Yeah, I think it's weapons that have bonuses attached to them get ignored with Cat Scratch. That's my understanding of it anyway. You can't use Rage with Atma weapon unless you do like some sort of weird loophole thing.
But you can use it with like Illumina and Ragnarok, and all of that stuff works fine as long as you don't have an offering equipped.
Well, no, it doesn't. So here's the thing, right? Cat Scratch will give you 4 times damage, but it won't be 8 times. So that's why it's not useful with Illumina or Ragnarok. It doesn't actually proc, and it won't proc the spells either.
It should proc. Maybe. Oh, maybe not.
Maybe I'm talking out of my bum. So what I usually use for Cat Scratch is a weapon with really high battle power, and not things like an Illumina or Ragnarok. They're better served on other characters.
Yes, absolutely. I know that you are a fan of the sniper weapon. I am also a man of great and refined culture.
Yeah, the sniper proc. I think I should download that sound effect and make it like my ringtone for when somebody texts me.
It's so good.
I'm just gonna flap every time you every time you get a notification. So yeah, it looks like Yakko is actually his highest character is level 20. I lied here, so he's gonna go back and do Kefka at Narsh. I wonder if he's going to take some of these soldier fights. Unlike the ones in the Imperial camp, these ones do actually give XP. And that is boss number 5 down for Nobody War. So we are at, I think, all 5s, unless...
All 5s for right now. The Shadow Sid is coming up on his Ifrit Shiva fight, so we'll very shortly be at number 6.
Yeah, it's weird. I forgot that this fight doesn't give MP in vanilla. It does in Worlds Collide. I think that's like a special thing.
Yeah, I think we gave a lot of bosses some MP when they normally wouldn't have any.
Yeah, a lot of the bosses in the first part of the game, in the World of Balance, don't, just because you don't have magic to learn, right?
So at this point you would, because you get the Espers right after Zozo.
Oh, right, yes. Same with the Kefkat Narsh business.
Correct. I think that Nobody War's Cat Scratchers are in the back row, which is unfortunate, because he's cutting his damage in half there. Cat Scratch does respect row.
It depends on what weapon he's using, obviously, but
Right.
I don't think... it depends. You know, it's fine if you don't have the armor to take a hit. So
that's boss number 6 down for Nobody War. And yeah, I should say that Cat Scratch generally respects the weapon property. So if it's back row good, you can use it with Cat Scratch and it should be fine.
there it is, Phoenix. Let's go. We were talking about that earlier. The best, my opinion, the best Esper in this category. And we're getting a Mode 7 minecart ride.
I don't hate this either. You get 3 fixed encounters and 2 bosses out of it.
Yeah, that is the 2 bosses part. It makes this redeemable for me. Otherwise, this is just way too long to spend on encounters that don't give as much XP as they ought to.
Yeah, the mag rotors here are like they're not deadly, and they don't give a whole lot of experience. And actually, number what is this? Number 128. His opening script is actually pretty annoying because he'll net one of your characters right out the rip, so that just said stop. And when you're trying to do damage,
yeah, his worst attack is Overflow, and thankfully I dodged that. Alright, Sid looks like they are not going to do the Indiana Jones Fun Spectacular here.
yeah, and this is what I did in my attempt, and I think that this is defensible as well. You miss out on the 2 bosses at the end, but there's plenty of easy bosses that you can kill. They don't have a minecart ride attached to it, so looks like he is going into the desert, going to go and fight some Hoovers, or possibly some Cactrots.
Yeah, Hoovers are a potentially deadly encounter, but they also give one of the highest XPs in the game. Speaking of deadly, Ficta rating with party at 6. Welcome, welcome. We'll get you your appetizers in just a minute.
Hey there. Come on in. Make yourselves comfortable.
Oh, wow, the proc. The insta-kill proc on the Hoover. Very nice. And you see there,
the
50,000 GP. Wow. And 15,000 XP. That's huge. Those are, yeah, so the World of Ruin, some of these encounters, they give a ton of stuff. And this is, you know, where you grind after you do your initial, I need to get enough offense to actually defeat one of these things, you know?
Yep. So, to all of the people who
oh my
just came in
god,
and
wow.
started rating, first of all, thank you. This is the Tournament of the Month qualifier between Shadow Sid, Nobody War, and Yakko Wacko. If you have already ran this, please do not spoil it for our runners here.
And if you haven't run this is the only time I'll tell you, but get out of the stream. No. So Sid actually, knowing his abilities, sketched Cactrot to do Blowfish. That was really cool. I did like that.
Yep, very heads-up play there. Cactrots are very evasive, both physically and magically. There's certain commands that can basically always hit them, so throw, for example, is very vital against them. I believe that slot doesn't miss either with certain slots.
All right, and it is Niles and Frazier, the Cranes for Nobody War, the last spot of the Magitech factory. And Yakko is going to go down to do the Edgar stuff. So they'll probably go and visit the Katana Soul Monster in a Box down in Ancient Castle.
Yep. We'll have to go through the tentacles first and seize a Celeste. Tentacles shouldn't be an issue. Their script, even in UL, it's basically unchanged. The Seize ability that they do does a fixed amount of damage, and that damage isn't affected by scaling, so it would always do about 60 whatever per tick.
Yeah, they're just more annoying than anything. However, if you already know that the tentacles are in this spot, you can actually mitigate some of it with the wearing of running shoes. So running shoes will actually make it so that your characters can't get slowed by the attacks of the tentacles.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not we have them or not is a different story, but...
We were talking about snipers earlier. Yakko just picked one up from a chest.
Very cool. Very nice.
And we know where the offering is. Are we going to see the legendary offering sniper combo?
Yeah, I think Cat Scratch Sniper offering is better than the Valiant Knife offering. Although, I could be convinced that I'm wrong. It's definitely not as satisfying, the Valiant Knife offering. We'll say that as much, right?
Oh, absolutely not. And for that reason alone, I think that Sniper offering is the best. So it's just a matter of who can equip it. Hopefully it is Shadow.
And that's my favorite punk band, Rizopus and the Piranhas, down for Nobody War, taking a commanding boss kills lead with number 9, I believe that was for him. Yep.
That's it.
And he is going to, I believe, get Realm here? Question mark?
I do not recall the reward for this.
I remember having Realm in my final party, so I know that we got to run into it somewhere.
It is a character.
Nope,
Oh.
it's French vanilla. Here we go. That's character number 1, 2, 3.
I think that's number 6. Oh, 7.
Okay. Let's click on the numbers here. Ooh, juicy chocobop on those engine noodles.
Yep. Yakko making very good use of the slots there.
Yeah,
7
slots.
Flush, also phenomenal.
Slots, I believe, is a great ability for early and mid-game. It falls off towards the end of the seed, but give your slots user, 2 earrings and pump up their magic power, because that's what slots is mostly based on, and you'll do a lot of damage. Slots has definitely carried me through early and mid-games for more seeds than I can probably count. And here's another famous grind spot that Nobody War is at with the Reach Frogs. I think this is what you said where you said you went, correct?
Same encounters, but I was actually outside of the World of Ruin Narsh. You can fight the same encounter there, so...
I just remember from the vanilla speedrun that they usually do it here.
I love Reach Frogs. Again, they're not very deadly. They can be slow if they get to, I think it's the 3rd turn where they start to jump.
But, yeah.
I mean, just look at them. Look at how cute they are.
And look at how cute these Reach Frog kebabs are. Yeah, 52,000 GP, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know there are Minervas in World of Balance Colingen, which is where Sid is now. I think that's what he's going to go get, right? Yep, there it is. Oh my god, $445,000.
money absolutely not an issue.
It's not mo money, mo problems. It's mo money, mo Minervas. Yeah, so we'll see. Sid seems to be done with grinding. Meanwhile, Nobody War is continuing to do some grinding, and Yakko is picking up some free progression here.
What a Ragnarok. That's
Yes.
a pretty good piece of free progression.
Yeah, yeah. So throw that on Terra, and that's what she's doing. Ooh, sleeping at the castle. How regal of you. I don't
When you
know
get
if
an
I've...
opportunity to sleep in the king's bed. I mean, geez.
It's good to be the king. So yes, he is going to go down to the ancient castle in spite of the fact that there is no boss down there. So we're going to see where it's Katana Soul fight here.
So this whole process is going to wind up taking about 5 minutes if it goes well. Unfortunately, Yakko is very, very underleveled relative to where you would normally want to be at this point.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if he just fights World of Balance bosses. Now, they'll take a little bit longer than Sid and Nobody War, but they won't be hard fights. However, if he tries to fight this dragon, that's a different story.
Yeah, he's in for a rude awakening if he tries to fight this dragon. Dragons are not shuffled, so it will be the blue Durgan down here. Ooh, how about an apple weapon? That's cool too.
Very nice.
Blue dragon likes to open up with Clean Sweep, which is an AoE water damage attack, and it does a lot of damage.
Yikes. Speaking of a lot of damage, those mantises, they have one of the highest battle powers in the game, and they have just flattened Go-Go and Locke.
Yeah, rough to run to the pincher attack here, because they'll get their attacks off before you can do anything about it.
Oh, you know what? And this Katana Soul fight's going to be really hard, too. I didn't even think about that. Oh, never mind. He's got Noise Blaster. He's fine.
Well, as long
Maybe
as
he's not
Locke can
fine.
survive this.
Okay. There we go.
So we gotta hope for Slayer Edge here, and yep, there it is.
Beautiful. Nicely done, Yakko. Great
Okay.
heads up speedrun strat there.
Yeah, so that's phenomenal. Going to get his offering, going to get his big pile of loot, or big pile of money. Please don't go into the castle. Okay.
What, this dusty old place? I might have gone down there just to get the reward. And maybe he's doing that?
Maybe.
I mean, because he's using a tent instead of just saving and going out. So we'll see if he goes left or up.
Okay.
Yeah, I would see what this reward is and get the heck out of here.
See, to me, if I weren't going to fight the dragon, I wouldn't come down here. I know that when I did this run, that's exactly what I did, but you know, I was already leveled up. I wanted the offering, I wanted the dragon so I can get the skip.
Yeah, I mean, there is no reason not to get this reward other than time, right? It takes some time to go get it. But if this is like a very useful Esper, right? And which it is. Ooh, it's
yeah.
Tritalk. That is a very useful Esper.
We keep talking about this stuff and it keeps coming true. It's almost like we've seen the seed before.
I never went here, so that was news to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Tritalk, phenomenal find. It does increase the value of doing dragon checks, since dragons still give you the actually I think it's 80 magic power per dragon kill. I think the multiplier is different.
Oh, interesting.
I might be wrong about that. Don't quote me.
Well, as part of the Kefka Tower skip, you have to defeat 3 of 5 bosses, and one of them could be any one dragon, right? So you have to defeat 3 of 5 different big tough bosses, and one of them can be a dragon. Right. So you could certainly make a case that you should beat a dragon at some point to get the skip. Dragons are going to be much easier than Magimaster or even Doomgaze.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. But not quite as easy as the Sidon. Who is going to go down with a single move of 3 Vivify.
Alright, Nyako is out of the Edgar loop, while Shadow Sid going into the Edgar loop. A little high-five action going on here. We'll see it. So, I don't think Sid has lock with tools, so what's he going to do? Is he going to use Sketch?
He can use Sketch. Sketch will occasionally cause him to use Slayer Edge.
Yeah, so we'll see if that works.
But they're having some a little bit of technical difficulties on his side.
There we go.
Nobody War in World of Ruin Narsh.
Sometimes I gotta just click on buttons and things will work. Yeah, it looks like he's going for the Sketch route. Just faltering at every turn, though, unfortunately.
Yako doing the Gal check here, gonna get his I don't even know what Esper that is. Kieran, that's right.
Because he has the meats. Actually, this stream is not going to get copyrighted by Arby's. My bad, SpeedGaming. Alright, and Nobody War is deciding to fight this particular dragon because I believe he's learned Fire 3 on everybody from that Phoenix spell. Or Phoenix Esper. So, this is a heads-up play, knowing that this dragon is here, and it's pretty easily defeatable with what he's got.
Yeah, even with scaled dragons, or excuse me, even with unscaled dragons, this one should be no problem to take out. Unless he gets trolled here by Incross.
Speedrunner's favorite ability.
I always seem to get, you know, at least 3 or 4 frozen every Incross.
Ooh. Wrong target for Slayer Edge there, Katana Soul. And that's one dragon down for Nobody War. Yakko Wacko, meanwhile, holding his nose and heading into the Serpent Trench, so he will get some levels here as well.
It's one of those checks that I didn't do just because there's no boss at the end of it, so it's a lot less attractive than Leet River, for example. I also didn't see a whole lot of experience coming out of that fight there.
No. The experience is not very good. I skipped the... Well, when I did my first seed, I did this, because it was right after... whatchamacallit? After the Velt check, but then I realized that there are much better fights to be had. Even though these ones are pretty easy and they don't take very long, it's not a lot of XP.
Yeah, no progression at the end of it either, so... Yaka really not wanting to take off the Moogle Charms. Nobody War looks like he is going to go and kill Rexhole. I believe that that's going to be his third and final boss that he needs to unlock the skip.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him because he already has, according to his tracker, 11 bosses killed, but I thought I'd been keeping up with it. So he already has 11 bosses killed. So he probably could have cut some of the bosses out along the way if he knows that he's going to take the Stooges and the next fight. right? Because as I mentioned earlier, you have to defeat at least 4 bosses in KT, 5 if you go in the right way.
Yeah, I wonder if he's just like not counting those, like because that's something that I do sometimes, where like the bosses in Kefka's Tower aren't really bosses, you know? Like you just kind of mentally separate them into their own category.
Yeah.
But no, like if you're at 11 bosses and you have the skip available, if you use the skip and you defeat all of the bosses there, then that's 15 and you've got it. Now those bosses are going to be very tough.
That's a calmness protection there for Yakko Wacko with Golem. I don't think anybody else is going to be getting that one.
I don't think so either. Did I see a Finn rear earlier?
I don't think so.
I might be thinking of another seed. I get really bad seed bleed.
If we did, I certainly didn't find it. I had to use Life 3 in this case. And before Kefka's Tower, Phoenix is the last Esper I picked up because it was in Magitech Factory. So
yeah.
I had to take the Moogle Charm off in KT to learn Life 2 on a second character because I didn't want to just depend on one. The Stooges fight is also much tougher when it's not scaled. They do much more damage than what I'm used to.
Yeah, and you see they actually retained their vanilla script. Because normally they're bouncing, like one of them's casting Reflect on one of them, and then they're bouncing spells off of the reflected one onto your party. Whereas in if you do this in a UL seed, that just doesn't happen.
So Sid does say "fight me, bro" to the blue dragon, and he does unfortunately lose one of his characters there. Yakko being nice and showing us the tracking menu, so I know that I'm not crazy.
Heading up Zozo. Still, I think his highest level is 18, so again, should be able to get through this just fine. And okay, taking off the Moogle Charm, gonna fight some of the fine citizens of Zozo. Great people there.
They sure are. That is a Yeti sighting. Running across the top of the tracks there.
Wonder why Cyan's dreaming about Yetis.
You know, in some of my practice seeds, Umaro has been very helpful in this flag set because you could go into Fanatic's Tower and use Umaro to knock around the dragon and knock around Magimaster. The problem is that those fights are very, very difficult. So if you're still using the Yeti, by the time you get there, you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah. In this set of flags, I would be very, very surprised if any of our runners, at any point ever, go into Fanatic's Tower. It's a lot of heartache for very, very little gain.
Well, you do always get a Mega Elixir from Magimaster, and he does give you 55 magic or 50 magic points. Before I read the flags correctly, I was going to Fanatic's Tower and beating up on Magimaster because I thought I had to defeat Doomgaze and Rexel and Magimaster, and I didn't realize that there was 2 more options on the other screen.
Oh no!
So, message to everybody, read the flags and read the objectives fully when you do your runs.
It is worth noting that in our beta flags, we have a little bit of text changes to make that a little more clear as to what you're supposed to do. So,
yeah, I really like, our community members have been putting in a lot of work with updating the source code and whatnot. I mean, I made just some easy, tiny little corrections, things that I needed to know Python and how to parse flag strings, whereas some of these other people that have contributed are reading like Super Nintendo assembler, and I do enough assembly programming in my real job. I don't need it in my hobby too.
Definitely a lot of labor of love for this, which is awesome to see. As somebody who's, I would say, relatively new to the community, it's very refreshing.
All right, and here is Rexel. We cannot use the vanilla speedrun strat because this fight has been altered from vanilla, where there is no zinger concept where Rexel possesses one of your characters and you have to get them into critical HP for him to appear, right? That doesn't happen in Worlds Collide. We just say, here, fight Rexel, and none of that messing around.
So I think both of Shadow's cat scratches, all of Shadow's cat scratches have been on point.
Very nice.
MVP for that fight. So while we have a little bit of a lull, you all should go and follow our runners. Shadow Said Nobody War and Yakko Wacko 20 are all great people, great runners, more than deserving of your support. And if you're interested in rolling some seeds for yourselves and hanging out with the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide community, come on over to our website, ff6wc.com. There's a link to our Discord there. Or you can click the... Oh, nope, never mind. That's the SpeedGaming Discord. My bad. Or no.
Yeah, so I think I got the link updated to go to the right place now.
Okay. So that is the link to our Discord. Please feel free to join. We love having new people. Any chance we get to expand the community, the better. And we also have a Twitter. And I believe that handle is at ff6_WC. And they've been posting some very cryptic messages lately. They sound very violent, and violence makes me excited.
I was going to say, I should tweet back at it, blink twice if you need me to rescue you.
But yeah, by all means, go and follow that account if you want the latest in Worlds Collide news and events. We are constantly putting new stuff on, so great time to get involved.
So Nobody War looks like they're heading over to Mount Zozo here. This is interesting because there is no boss at the end of this check. There is an optional dragon, but since he's already defeated a dragon, he does not need that one for requirements. And
yeah, for MP maybe, but there is no the dragons do not give experience.
No, they do not, and they're very difficult. This one not, And there's Madeline. How vanilla is that? Madeline at the top of, well, I guess it's Ramu at the top of that tower, right? But
yeah,
Madeline's a decent spell, or Esper in this particular flag set, because it teaches all of the tier 2 spells. Now, that would be great if Yakko didn't already have Tritalk.
Have we found elemental shields at all? Because they also teach the level 2 spells at a little higher rate.
If they have, I'm not seeing it. And speaking of Tritalk, that's where Sid is right now, taking that fire Esper. Little does he know that the Yeti is in the dream and could have comboed this. Oh no, it doesn't matter. It's not character gated. I'm just so used to... I'm so used to character gating that I forgot that you could do this and Umaro's check and come out with 2 bosses.
It's a trip sometimes.
Okay. All right, Nobody War. Picking up Fenrir at the end of Mount Zozo, proving how much of an idiot I am for saying, why are you going here? There we go. Stop and X-Zone. That's also a great Esper find, because it's Calmness Protection, Stop to use against Spicy Chicken, and X-Zone to use against Tier 1 and Tier 2. That's like a sneaky, really good Esper.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's going to go back and fight this dragon, presumably to get some of those spells learned.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Storm Dragon is not very difficult.
Yeah, he'll be fine at these levels. The problem with having Esper bonuses now is that you're already at such high level. Anything like Strength +2 is not really going to be all that helpful because you're not really gaining that many levels for the Strength plus bonus to take effect, right?
Right.
Which is why you should grab like the Tizen Thief Esper and maybe the Delt Esper before going to do your grind. Because if they have bonuses on them, then you'll get a lot of use out of it.
Sit up against the Dabbing Yeti himself. Has a very crippling weakness to fire, and we have a very crippling fire spell to cast.
Yeah, for sure.
So I believe that this is going to bring him up to 10 bosses?
Let me double check. Yes. That's boss number 10 for Sid there.
Yakko in the Magitech facility gonna come up against his Ifrit and Shiva here shortly. Remains to be seen if he is going to do the final leg of the Magitech facility. He is still low in levels. I wouldn't hate the play, especially because of the 2 bosses at the end.
Yeah. Well, if you take into account the 2 bosses at the end, this is 4 bosses in here in total. The problem is he already has 8 bosses, which means he's going to be doing more bosses than he needs to. But that's okay.
The unfortunate thing is that he is still going to need to level up before he can stand a chance in Kefka's Tower. Both Shadow State and Nobody War have basically already done that to some extent. So, unfortunately, those early game decisions by Yakko are kind of coming back to haunt him here. And the clock is ticking if he wants to get back into this.
Yeah, this, like, I think you mentioned it earlier. If you're used to running the Worlds Collide seed, this is almost the antithesis of what we come to expect from Worlds Collide, where there's so much vanilla in it. And you don't get XP for defeating bosses, right? It's just completely different than what you're used to.
It's a very jarring experience for sure.
That's boss number 9, I believe, for Yakko. And Sid looks like he's also going to go for Skip. In Ebbett's Rock, he's going to go find his hiding. And then he's probably going to go through the Dream, unless he wants to walk up Fanatic's Tower. We'll see what... Or fight Doomgaze.
Or fight Doomgaze. I'm rooting for the Doomgaze play personally. That's what I did in my run. I'm not sure if that was correct, but I didn't take a whole lot of time to kill him, so...
Yeah. It certainly depends on what you have, right? We've got access to fire, and Doomgaze is sort of weak to fire. We also found Alexander, which teaches Pearl, and Doomgaze is definitely weak to Pearl. So we have the right stuff to kill him. It's just a matter of, whether or not he wants to go through that fight, because Doomgaze has 55,555 HP, and he doesn't run away like in the vanilla game. Speaking of 5s, SpeedGaming 5 is rating with a party of 89. What a coinky dinky there. Thank you very much for the raid.
Yeah,
you are
really
watching
that.
You're watching Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, the open world randomizer for Final Fantasy VI. Although this isn't really a lot of random, this is a lot of vanilla with this set of options, but that's one of the great things about this randomizer is that you can customize it and make it whatever experience you want. And Nobody War is setting up his party at the statues, and he knows that left party is going to fight Doom, middle party is going to fight Guardian and Poltergeist, and right party is going to fight Goddess. Because in this set of options, the bosses are not randomized.
Yeah, so 4 very tough bosses coming up, including the Guardian fight, which is not free. Not by any stretch of the imagination. What I've seen a lot of runners do is, I think you mentioned it earlier, Schwans, going up that middle path killing both Guardian and Poltergeist, then warping out, reforming, and then going back to tackle the left and right wings.
Well, Sid is fighting Doomgaze. We just can't see it.
Sid automatically wins the seed because he is the only one who wasn't chicken enough to fight Doomgaze.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an HP slog, but he's got the tools to beat this. I've actually found Guardian to be much harder in this. Well, all of the Kefka's Tower bosses I think are much harder when you actually don't scale them down to your progression. Like, Guardian usually is just a big pool of HP, but his attacks hurt a lot in this. Like, the missile will do a few hundred damage instead of just like 20. It does sometimes.
You see the Fire 3s coming out for Doomgaze. I don't know if Sid is going to end up getting Bolt 3. He has it on that Tritalk Esper that he found, but because it's only at a ×1 multiplier, it's very difficult to actually wind up getting it.
And that is boss number 10 for Yakko. So yes, Sketching Guardian does do big guard. I did not know that, but it's nice to have. That does both safe and shell, so it reduces physical and magical damage by 1/3. Although, yeah, you see how powerful those tentacles were? Jeez. Yeah, I learn something almost every time I watch a Seed of Worlds Collide. It's pretty crazy.
There's just so much to this game.
Yeah, so it looks like we're at, mid-20s for Yakko, so this minecart ride will definitely help out his level situation. And even though Sid is paused, he is still fighting Doomgaze. Of course, as soon as he comes back. So yeah, you saw how much longer that fight took than, let's say, the Rexall fight, but Sid doesn't have to go all the way through Cyan's stream now, which is good. And that's boss number 12 for him.
So he does have his skip online, having killed the blue dragon there. I believe that he is just going to take a safety heal here, and then probably head out and dive the tower, or if he's not feeling comfortable with his levels, do a little bit of grinding. At this point, the Dinosaur Forest is a very attractive option.
Looks like he's going back to the desert.
Doesn't like those Hoovers and wants to kill them all.
Yeah,
nobody has against vacuum cleaners.
Mid-30s is a little low. Which is weird, because usually that's, like, the place I feel like I could take Kefka's Tower if I have good stuff, but not with these flags.
Oh, and on the,
I'm sorry, go
on
ahead.
the Dataluma portion of the script there, throwing a mithril knife at Locke for a cool 5,000 damage.
Jesus. Yeah, these statue bosses don't play in this set of flags. Which, this is just, right, you have to make a decision whether or not you're gonna... This is, so in my route, I have plans. I have everything written out, and then I have the Kefka Tower part, and it's like, well, if you think you're comfortable enough, warp out after, because what I would do is I'd get to 10 bosses, I'd fight Inferno, and I'd fight the Skull Dragon for my skip, and then I said, all right, you could get out of here now if you think you have enough, offense. Otherwise, keep going, And yeah, it'll cost you extra time because you're going to do all the switches and stuff, but you're fighting Guardian and then Poltergeist with your full party. And then you're doing 2 for the left side, 2 for the right side after you come back for the skip. And you see how long that Guardian fight took with just 2 characters, right? So that's one of those things where you have to... That's one of the hardest things as a runner, is to gauge when you're like, okay, I have enough, let's just go. Versus, no, I need to be cautious about it. Did you split your party up like Nobody War did, or did you go full party up the middle?
I split mine up like Nobody War, and like I made it through. I would say it was okay. It definitely would have been better had I done party up the middle and then split.
Yeah.
But I mean, we keep talking about it. The calculus changes a lot with this particular flag set, and it changes in a way that people who are used to running the Ultra League seeds just don't expect, and they won't expect until they get like a couple of practice seeds under their belt.
50 damage in that sketch. Go sit down, Gao. The adults are in the room. Sorry. That's definitely probably, like, looking back at my run, that's probably what I should have done, but I thought my offense was good enough in the mid-40s. The only problem that I had was I had to take a reset to Doom, because Doom has been my bane of my existence in this flag set, between N-Cross trolling and not being able to actually hit him in Phase 2, right?
Oh, yeah. And I forget what my strategy was for dealing with him. But he didn't give me any problems. Goddess very much did.
That is boss number 12 for Yakko there. Yeah, so what I did for Doom was I had Setzer, which I don't... Did we start with Setzer? I think we started with Setzer. And I found fixed dice somewhere. So I gave Setzer the fixed dice, because fixed dice will never miss, like the Illumina. So that cuts through the image status on the second phase. And then I used Realm throwing. I found Realm in the seed somewhere, and she had throw. So I used Fire Schemes until that got nullified, and then I used Shurikens.
Yeah.
I actually think I threw, like, I did the Goddess fight first because I was worried about Doom, and I got an Excalibur, so I'm like, alright, let's just throw this. I got a Pearl Lance through that, so quad 9s on both of those turns, but Doom has more XP than Kefka does. I think he has 64,000, and we're 65,000, and Kefka has 64. It's
yeah.
Let's double check.
He's very, very beefy.
63,000. Sorry, I lied.
So close to the what is that? The 16-bit integer cap. Sorry, I'm being a nerd.
Yeah, 65335. Only reason I know that is because I work in hexadecimal numbers every day for my job.
Gross.
Yep.
But somebody's got to do it. So
hey, job security. Nobody wants to do it.
True. So Yakko able to take down these red wolves in World of Ruin Narsh. Not the most EXP lucrative part of the overworld, but definitely doable.
Yeah, let's do a fight that you're comfortable with, because at these levels, if he went to where Sid is, or if he went to the Dinosaur Forest, he's in danger of getting one shot by, you know, Meteor or those sandstorms, right?
Absolutely.
And the bad part is Locke is the one who knows stop, but he keeps getting killed. That's just unfortunate.
Yeah, S-Cross is a very, very powerful fire attack.
Yeah, even though you want your Paladin Shield for your Atma weapon user to keep them at full health, I might have given that to Locke just to keep him alive to continue using Stop.
He should be coming up on the end of this Poltergeist fight here. Shadow Sid still on the Hoovers. Sandstorm is putting in work. And there down goes Poltergeist for Nobody War. So one of the great things about Hoovers is that they're vulnerable to instant death. So if you have Doom or X Zone, you can use it on them, and it actually works. It's nice. Unfortunately, I don't think that any of our runners have instant death like that, so gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. But Setzer, getting the full 60,000 EXP there, that's gonna juice his levels up quite a bit.
Very juicy. I think we found... Somebody found...
So,
yeah, Nobody War found this, the Esper with X Zone and Stop, right?
He did find Fenrir, that's right, but I don't think Shadow Sid did.
Ah, yes. And we didn't get an air anchor or a chainsaw in our tools search anywhere.
So, yeah, I think his only source of instant death right now is procs from the Assassin Dagger. If he still has it. I'm not sure if he sold it.
Did he run out of Phoenix Downs? I mean, he's got life too, I would assume, learned. Or maybe he just doesn't care to level up Shadow and Go-Go.
Yeah, he might be totally okay with their levels right now. So normally in Ultra Sleeve flags, the party divide EXP is turned off, so everyone gets the full experience complement. In this set of flags, though, experience is divided among every party member who is still alive. So when you
didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so that's why Setzer during that one fight got 60,000 experience. Well, if everybody else had been alive, it would have been 15,000 or whatever.
Alright, and here's the Troll Cross. Okay. That's not that bad.
So Umara best be frozen, but Shadow and Satan, at least for the time being. Ooh. Yeah, see, that's the ink cross that I'm used to. Poor Yakko.
Yeah, if he saved there, I would reset, but maybe he didn't. The only way to unfreeze your party is to use a fire spell on your own characters, so it's definitely not fun. At least Locke, I think, knows it. Or you could have the Ice Dragon kill your party, that's also fine. That's another way to unthaw characters.
Yeah.
Exhume a body. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that Split XP was on. That might alter my strategy? Or maybe that's why I was getting so much experience doing grinding with just 3 characters in in the Cave to the Sealed Gate, right? Because the experience was being split was being split amongst 3 versus amongst 4.
Right. And actually that helps quite a bit because when you recruit more characters, they do join at your party's average level. So,
right.
You do a lot of that early game grinding, any characters that you find later are going to be at a higher level, which helps when you're fighting statue bosses.
Yeah, for sure. Oh no. Our polarity on Shadow, who's raged, and Umara, who's also raged. And this is where the danger happens, because he's in phase 2 where he's got the image status, and Cat Scratch is just missing every time.
Image will eventually go away if you target him with physical attacks enough. It's just a random chance to break.
Yeah, every attack is a 50-50 coin flip of whether or not it breaks the image status or not. Nobody War is getting some pretty horrific coin flips here.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, and that's unfortunate, so...
Oh, there we go.
Maybe not.
That's fine.
Okay.
Everything's fine. So that's the first dragon down for Yakko. And that is boss number 14 down for Nobody War.
Yep.
He just has one more to go.
Sid taking on the Guardian.
Bullet Sponge Extraordinaire. Yeah, so Nobody War has got a Striker on Shadow, which has like around a 200 battle power or so, but does need to be in the back, or rather in the front row to do full damage. So he is unfortunately neutering his Shadow there.
Yeah, being in the back row cuts that damage in half, and that's after all of the other multipliers, so...
So his Cat Scratch is like a ×2 instead of a ×4, essentially.
Yeah, more or less.
Alright, that's boss number 13 down for Sid, and this is Nobody War's 15th and final boss, but it is one of the hardest ones in the game here. Goddess is... will absorb Pearl and Lightning. Doesn't really have an elemental weakness. Is actually weaker to physical attacks, but every physical attack you do has a chance to proc a counter called Love Token, and that means that your character will eat physical attacks for Goddess. So it essentially shuts that avenue of attack down.
Yeah, and that's why Goddess is so deadly, because you want... she has very high magical defense and very low physical defense, so you want like a nice physical attacker to chew through her HP, but Love Token basically prevents that. So my strategy for this fight was to give Terra an Atma weapon and an offering, and hope that Love Token did not come out.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about the offering is that it bypasses Love Token, right? So you just have to make sure your other character, whomever is in the party with you, does not get procced with Love Token.
Did not know that.
Yep.
Okay, well,
so
now
offering is considered X fight and not fight, and Love Token only works on fight. It's a very subtle distinction, but hey, it works. And now you know.
Yeah, knowing is half the battle.
Insert the more you know. And that is boss number, lucky hopefully for Yakko, 13 down. Because he's going to get a juicy Esper here, I believe. Maybe not.
Starlet, I do believe, teaches all of the Cure spells.
Cure 3? Yes.
Yeah. Again, it teaches that Cure 3 at a rate lower than Phoenix does. Phoenix, I think, teaches it at 3.
Oh no. Are those zeros? Yeah, those are zeros. Oof.
And that overcast ability, very, very rough.
It is awful. The time is usually never all that far. You can counteract the overcast by wearing either a memento ring or a safety bit, because that prevents death. So
I believe a ribbon would also work too, because ribbon prevents condemned.
Yep. Good shout for that as well. and it is the pugs, which are not scaled. So this is a level 99 fight here. This is rough, but you do have a chance of grabbing some Minervas.
Who has steel there? Was that Setzer with steel? Nope, that was Slot.
I think Terra has steel? Question mark?
Terra's too busy fighting to steal, but one of the interesting things about this fight,
Yeah, she does have steel.
is that you can steal from the pugs encounter, but you can also find singular pug encounters with which you cannot steal Minervas.
Yeah, the singular pug fight you should never fight. The script is completely different, and it's much more difficult of a fight. And that's not the master pug fight, which is also another one you should never fight, because it only drops a greatest.
Yeah, greatest is... It's good if you need some money, but I don't think I've ever killed a master pug in World Collide.
Oh no. Alright, Goddess attempt number 2 for Sid, and Goddess attempt number 2 for Nobody War. Both of them have 14 bosses apiece, so let's see which one gets past this Goddess fight first. Although I do think Sid still has to defeat Dune.
So that was Setzer with the Fixed Ice Offering, a very powerful combo.
Yep. And you'll see here that Love Token actually procced Setzer. Oh, but Sid might not know this either about offering.
Yeah, he might have the same impression that I did.
So this fight's going to take a lot longer now. Ooh, Nobody War casting Phantom to go for Stray Cat. That's not really going to work because Goddess counters everything with Bolt Magic, and Phantom will allow you to dodge every physical attack, but every magic attack always hits.
Yes,
and it removes your vanish status. So I think Nobody War is trying to figure out a way to get around the Love Token here. Hence why we've got the Life 3 cast. I mean, this is also another strategy that will work eventually.
24 elixirs? I must be seeing something wrong.
Hey, listen, we had dollar bills, y'all. We had tons of money.
That's true. Okay, no, my eyes do not deceive me.
Yeah, so what I think Nobody War should probably do here is grab a Paladin shield, and wherever his Paladin shield ended up, and put it on Go-Go. Alright, so Nobody War just realigned his party because Goddess is always a pincer attack. So the characters in the first and third slot, or rather the first and second slot, will be on the right-hand side of Goddess. Characters in the third and fourth slot will be on the left-hand side of Goddess. So that's why when I usually fight this fight, I like putting my characters on either side of Goddess so that they can't get hit with the same spell at the same time. Because Goddess will only attack one side of the fight at once, as you can do in pincer attacks, right?
Yep.
Which is what Sid has on his screen, right? Bolt is getting cast, but only on one of his characters instead of both of them, like what just happened there. Meanwhile, Yakko is fighting our resident dabbing Yeti. Using the Atma weapon, and he's got Atma weapon and offering. Very nice.
Yeah, should have no trouble getting through this fight. And Sid, by the skin of his teeth.
Wow. Very nice. First one done with our goddess fight here.
And he should be the first one to step on the statues here momentarily.
I still think he has to fight Doom.
Oh, he hasn't fought Doom yet.
No. Uh-oh.
Down goes the Yeti for Yakko. I believe that puts him at 14 bosses.
So Gogo is Rage and Zombied. One errant cat scratch could ruin this fight for Nobody War here. That's 2 in a row hitting Goddess instead of Setzer.
That's good, but Setzer only has 3 more seconds of until he becomes a zombie.
Oh, and there it is.
But down it goes.
Oh my god. Yes. So Love Token, not Love Token, Overcast only gets called out when Goddess is underneath a certain HP threshold. So you know the fight is almost over when that comes out. The problem is you then have to do enough damage in 20 seconds to defeat Goddess. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It says after 8 attacks, she'll use Overcast. Wow, that's bad.
I thought it was an HP threshold too, but that just goes to show you. Look things up. On the FF6 Worlds Collide website, we have a link to a wiki. The wiki has links in turn to all kinds of information that you need to know, like boss scripts.
Yeah.
Yakko climbing the tower.
The wrong tower.
This is Fnatic's tower. I fear for him.
Yeah, so Magimaster's at the top of this tower, which is one of our bosses that we need to defeat in order to get the skip. However, this is going to be rough. Because Magimaster will cast a spell called Wall Change on himself, which makes him absorb 6 elements, nullify 6 elements, absorb 1, and is weak to another. So you basically can't hit him with 7 out of the 8 elemental spells. I don't think we found Meteor or Flare?
I saw Sid using Flare.
Maybe we found Flare.
Flare would have been... Ooh, which Esper has that?
Maybe we have Berserk.
Oh, hang on.
Bahamut is Flare. Ah, we do have Berserk. Okay. Easy. This fight is free then.
Yeah, it's a lot easier now. I saw the Flare earlier from a Ragnarok proc. That's what I must have seen.
Well, I know in my seed when I played, I found Bahamut somewhere. So that's why I assumed that that's what Sid also found too.
Oh yeah, maybe. Did I find Bahamut? I can't remember if I did or not.
So yeah, Yakko came into this fight prepared. I really like this play. Knowing that he has Berserk, this is actually really easy, this fight. It's just going to take a bit, because Magimaster has, I think, 50,000 HP. Let's look this up.
I don't think it's that. Is it that high?
It is. It's pretty bad. Yep, 50,000. And 50,000 MP. So you could either rasp it to death, which would take even longer, or just beat him down. Nobody War in to fight Final Kefka on the statues, 149 and change. Meanwhile, Sid is at his last fight here against Doom. And I think his offense is Terror with the Ragnarok, which isn't going to help in Phase 2 of Doom. So we'll see what he does here. Never mind, doesn't matter. Doom's dead. What am I talking about?
It's dead. Okay, so that is the last of our bosses for Sid. Now he is good to ascend the tiers. So between Sid and Nobody War, it is anybody's race. Any mistakes here on the tiers, if it just goes a little bit well for somebody and a little bit worse for somebody else. I mean, maybe a minute apart. And anybody who's played Worlds Collide will tell you that a minute is nothing.
Yep, so Nobody War does have X-Zone online, so he's actually going to get through parts of this fight faster than Sid is. Because I don't remember having instant death when I went through this seed. Maybe Sid found either Raiden or Odin or Shote.
I see an X-Zone for Nobody War.
Yeah, because he found...
He found the Fenrir, that's right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah,
That was
Sid,
the Mount.
I
That
don't
was the
think
Mount
has that
Zozo
tool.
Esper.
Yep.
And there it is, a Magimaster down for Yakko. I think
Nice job by Yakko.
he earns both the skip and unlock KT at the same time. So he unfortunately fought a few more bosses than he had to, but he's going to be in the tower very soon. Now, whether or not he needs to gain a lot of levels before that remains to be seen.
Yeah, earlier he was grinding on those Red Wolves. I didn't see what level he got up to. I do not think it's very high.
Yeah, so without knowing what his equipment looks like, doing 3,000 per damage with a tier 3 spell probably means he's not high enough level yet for KT.
Yeah, my guess would be like low 30s.
Oh, I was going to say he's probably still in the 20s.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know, we'll see. We'll see who's right. Drum roll as soon as we get to a menu. Sid, meanwhile, on the final boss here. And he's dishing out quad 9s with something. Must be Cat Scratch. Oh, there's Shote
Shote's nice.
for Yakko. Oh, you were right. Level 35. Okay.
Well, I said low 30s, but 35 is actually surprising. I would have thought like 30, 31.
Well, we'll see if Terra was the one who had the experience egg or not. Yeah, so he is... A couple of his characters are 29.
Okay.
So Nobody War is on to tier 2. We did not find Siren, I don't think, so Magic is not going to be able to be muted. We do have X-Zone, though, so that'll take tools out of the way right away. I'd use Demi on both of these tiers. That's fun.
Yeah, same. As a matter of fact, race recently I had to use quarter on the tiers, so... Any seed where you get to cast that, good seed in my opinion. But unfortunately, yeah, no mute means that Magic is free to wreak havoc on your party.
Yeah, he's just very annoying.
Hope you like that little rhyme there.
Listen, we should do Final Fantasy freestyles one day.
Oh gosh,
that would be awful.
Well, and that's exactly why we'd want to see it, right?
Well, when I used to joke around and freestyle with my friends, my MC name was Nursery Rhymes because that's basically what I did. So we'll resurrect that one here.
Awesome.
So Sid does have some pretty potent offense. He's got Stray Cat on multiple users between Shadow and Go-Go. He does have Terra with the Atma weapon, and he has Setzer instead of Lock. Nobody War looks like he's using Lock with the Aura Lance to jump, and I don't know what Sid is using for his Setzer. He's in the back row, so I'm assuming it's either Magic or
It looks like he's
Fixed Dice.
in the front.
No, he's definitely not.
I'm looking at him compared to his Setzer, because his Setzer's definitely in the back.
I'm talking about Sid's Setzer. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, and so remember, Nobody War has instant death, and Sid does not. So this is where it's going to come in really on this tier, where you have 4 enemies fighting you instead of just 3. Tools doesn't really do anything devastating. He's just more annoying. But you add up all the annoyances, and eventually you're going to want to pull your hair out, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you see earlier that on Sid's side, Magic cast Muddle on Terra, and that's just one of the many spells that is just so aggravating to deal with.
Oh no. See you later, Terra.
Good night, Terra.
Setzer was trying to teach Terra how to play craps.
Taught her a little bit too well, I suppose, but fortunately, it does have that life too, which is maybe the best healing spell in the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Nobody War needs to use a little life too here on his Shadow, taking a nap. So yeah, we are, as you said, neck and neck here. Meanwhile, Yakko is getting bullied by Guardian.
Nobody War's magic is under that 10,000 HP threshold. Ooh, and Yakko taking the reset there.
Alright, well now that magic is down, he's got some time to heal his party up before he can fight against Hit, who I believe is the only thing left. I think he still has Phantom, so you can use Phantom. Oh, never mind. Tiger's still alive.
Tiger, yeah. A surprise.
Oh, you know why? Because he was using Cat Scratch, and that's non-targetable damage, right? So.
Yeah, so you basically just wound up killing a bunch of. But whoever got in Cat Scratch's way.
Yeah. Which is probably magic, which is why we saw thousands of dispels.
Yeah, I think that was Tiger being killed there.
Alright, so now that Tiger is dead, we can use Phantom as a summon here, which will turn our entire party invisible with the Vanish status. So that means that every physical attack will miss, but every magic attack always hits. Fortunately for us, Hit only does physical attacks, so that's why this is going to be easy peasy.
Yep. 10 hits going to be a non-issue here.
Question from the chat, did anyone grind with Hoover or Miranda Forest? So, Nobody War went for the Reach Frogs, and Shadow Sid went for the Hoovers in the desert. When I did my seed, I went to the Dinosaur Island in the forest and did Tyrannosaurs. They gave 15, 20,000 XP, but the problem is if they cast Meteor once, you basically are dead.
So Nobody War and Shadow Sid neck and neck now. Nobody War just a few seconds behind, but Shadow Sid losing Go-Go on the transition.
Oh. Yeah, unlike in the vanilla game, we don't want to see characters sub in off the bench because usually we haven't invested time or effort into those characters. Thankfully, it looks like Celeste's levels are probably not too bad, but if he's using Blowfish, then... Oh, he's got Quasar as well. Okay. Salvageable 5th character here for Sid.
Funny story, because I lost Shadow on Tier 1, my kill, and had to use Got Celeste in as well.
Oh yeah, very nice. I lost Terra, I think, on Tier 2, to because I killed both Magic and Hit at the same time. So, so Setzer came in with fixed dice for the last 2 fights, so that was okay. Oh no,
Whirlwind here.
Yeah. So the problem with using Phantom is Whirlwind on Tier 3 will always hit all of your characters, and that's never fun. However, we've learned enough Cure spells in this seed. That's the thing with Vanilla Espers. You get a lot of healing spells. A lot more than you do in the regular options we play.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of Espers that teach at least Cure 2, and Cure 2 is serviceable enough normally.
Single target Cure 2 is really all you need most of the time. Meanwhile, sets are going down, but he gets back up again. And there is a music reference I'm not going to make here. Meanwhile, just brutal. Sid is eating condemns and W wins, and he's going to have to recover here. Meanwhile, Gogo's sleeping on the job for Nobody War.
So, there's Train.
Which means...
Choo-choo.
It means that Sleep is under 10,000 HP, so we're getting close here.
We're going to Hogwarts.
Well, Locke is out of harm's way. Unfortunately, the blind stat does work in Worlds Collide, but that cat scratch will go ahead and take out our memeing Setzer there, unfortunately. So Nobody War is the first on to Phase 4, but he's also down a character now. I think having 3 out of 4 characters usually for the final stretch is not that bad, though. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, the cat scratching shadow, or the offering shadow, did not take care of rest there, even though he did about 10,000 damage. And that's because there is a little bit of a gap. It's not actually 10k, it's like 10,000 and some hundreds, like 2,200 something damage. So I think that's what we saw there on Sid's side, where he was in Meteor phase, but didn't do enough damage with that shadow to get him out of it quick enough. So
yeah, so here at this one guide, it says it is 40,000 base HP, and it says at 1/4 HP. So I don't know whether I believe this or not. Lies, it's all lies. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. So there you see on Sid's screen, he does have the offering with Shadow. Offering also never misses, so it doesn't matter if you are blind or not. But Terra, swinging the Ragnarok, did miss, so blindness does matter for using that sword. It does not matter for an Illumina. Illuminas will always hit. Same thing with Fixed Ice. Fixed Ice will always hit. Little trivia knowledge. This has gone rough for both of our runners here so far. Kefka's not playing. Sid getting his Shadow back to life, and with the Valiant Knife and having such little HP, is putting in a lot of work here, and this Flare proc is certainly going to go a long way to help.
Ooh, there's Ultima. Setzer should survive.
It depends on if he's queued up an attack or not. Oh, he's got life 3.
And everybody has life 3. Okay.
So what does that mean that we just saw Ultima?
Well, it means that we are about to see Shadow Sid take care of Kefka once and for all. There's the crack pal.
Ooh, very nice. Sid sniping it at the end. Get your GGs in chat for Sid. He did finish, but the bot is out to lunch. 2:04:17 is the time.
Yeah, that life 3 really putting in work.
Goner coming out meanwhile for Nobody War.
So that ultimate counter, Kefka will only use that if he is below 10,000 whatever HP. And there's the crack pile for Nobody War.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, so just a few seconds behind Sid there. What a great race.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have an official time for Nobody War because this timer went off the screen. But Sid definitely finished ahead of whatchamacallit. Sid definitely finished ahead. So that was a pretty epic final Kefka with both of them fighting Kefka at the same time. Really cool to see.
Yeah, awesome.
Yakko ran into the wall that was Guardian, realized, hey, I need more levels, and he's been grinding out here outside of Narsh, and his HP numbers are looking much, much better now. Meanwhile, we are joined by tonight's winner, Sid. Congratulations on your first place victory. GG's.
Thanks. GG's.
So tell us a little bit about your strategy with this particular set of options that is basically vanilla, but random items and shops.
Well, the strategy was kind of kill stuff early with Revivifies that are undead. Kind of after doing all my looting and stuff. Yeah, I thought I did that okay. And then after doing some bosses, go back and do some more levels after I have some magicites that might give me some spells, give me some stats. Hoping to do that in the desert, but I got a lot of Cactrots in a row.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help. It's kind of a 50-50 on if I get experience or not.
If you're trying to learn some magic, the Cactrots aren't the worst thing in the world. But yeah, at that point, you definitely want to see the Hoovers.
And you didn't need the money that the Cactrots drop either.
Oh no. Sure would have been nice to found an elemental shield in a shop or something. I don't know if that was even on those flags. I was just like, oh.
It was, but we didn't run into any, unfortunately, in this particular seed. You did find Minervas in the shop, so you don't really need elemental shields if you have Minervas, but not everybody can obviously wear those, right?
I was thinking breakables to just fly through the end, yeah, because that's so much money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I started with a bunch of elixirs, so I couldn't believe it, and then I was like, oh wait. This once reminded me that you have a bunch of money.
Yeah. Hoovers and Cactrots will make you rich, if you know where they're at.
Were you at all tripped up by just how different this is than Ultras League?
Yeah, there was definitely times where I was going one direction and then didn't. Like, wait, no, I actually don't want to do that. Let me go investigate this section first or do this boss first. So it definitely messed with my routing a little bit.
Yeah, and in this set of flags, the routing is probably the most important part. And on that front, do you have did you take any notes or do you have plans to adjust your strategy for future races with this flag set?
So I made notes kind of in the race room going into it of like basically early bosses and combo bosses and bosses that like lead into the skip. I ended up with one extra boss and one extra dragon that I didn't need. So that was poor planning. Other than that, though, I thought the route was okay. Just leveling would have been a little bit kinder. I would take the grinding part out if I had to change the flags. Just the boss experience to shoot up, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah, it certainly makes you like think about, okay, if bosses aren't going to give me levels, I have to get them in some other way, right? So tell us about your Kefka Tower strategy. I noticed you got the skip, and you did not choose to send a full party in on one turn, then warp out and use the skip on your second turn. Did you feel confident enough that you could take care of the statues, and which statue gave you, or did you think was the most problematic in this flag set?
I mean, it's vanilla boss location, so I kind of knew what was coming up. The goddess was definitely the problem for me. I knew that was going to be if she charmed my character, or whatever the move is, where they're going to hit themselves. That was going to be a problem, and it was.
And hey, we're joined by Nobody War. Nobody War, congratulations on the second place finish.
GG's.
What were your impressions of the seed overall? Did you do any practice beforehand, or was this your?
Yeah.
Were you going in blind?
I ran through this a couple times. Maybe just like 3 or 4. And yeah, I had my 15 bosses accounted for, and kind of just had some few my own other objectives. It was pretty fun.
Did you have so you said you practiced, were you able to formulate like a nice strategy going into this, or was it?
So my game plan was uncursing the shield. I ran into a seed where I only ended up picking 4 characters up by the time I was ready to go into KP, so I just swapped the paladin shield between all 3 of them and soloed each of the bosses. Made it all the way up to Kefka, just fixed dice, couldn't finish him off in the end, but yeah, that was a seed playthrough, so like, yeah. I had some strategies in my back pocket if I needed to use it.
For sure.
So I just asked this of Sid, and I'll ask it of you. So knowing that you're going to get the skip, you seemed like you did not send your party into the tower, clear out one section, and then warp out and come back to the statues. Was that because you felt your offense was good enough to account for some of that time loss, or would you have done it differently looking back at how your run ended?
Yeah, it was just always a bit of confusion on my end, like very late at the end. There's like one character I wish I would have had on the far right side for Goddess. I probably could have gotten away with that. The right needs to be the 3-character party instead of them on the Doom side. Because you can just destroy Doom with one character, like you saw.
Yeah, it's very weird because I've actually found
stop for spicy chicken or something like that too. Like that fight's no problem. My magic power was weak, and I had like real limited offense besides like cat scratch and some fire threes. So
yeah, so we'll rope Sid back into this here. Sid, you also went to go get cat scratch. When you saw that one of your characters had rage, did you immediately think, oh, I know where Stray Cat is, let's go get that, and that's what this character's doing for the rest of the seed?
Yep. I mean, I know because Monster Hunter boxes are vanilla that I can get an offering anytime I want. So I was like, yeah, I got rage, I'll get cat scratch when I get over to that area when I'm doing the leader fight.
You did have quite the time with Katana Soul as compared to Yakko. With Yakko found Locke, who had tools and had a noise blaster, so his Katana Soul fight was much easier than yours. You were attempting sketch, and it just would not. Go-Go.
I've never had
paint,
sketch do that before.
Go-Go cannot paint.
No, that was like what 16, 17 rounds at least.
It was
sketch just nothing. Like it didn't ever hit. I had to just kill it normally.
And then for Nobody War, I think your most problematic piece was Poltergeist kept deciding to kill your character who knew stop, right? So that that dragged that fight out very long.
Yeah, not having optimum DPS in that fight. So I realized character's gonna have my weapon.
Yeah, that's really, really rough. It's funny, in my practices and even in my run, I've actually found Doom to be my most problematic statue because of the fact of his second phase giving him image status and reflect, and I've never luckily yeah, I did not find, so in my run I think I found Realm, who had throw. Right, so that certainly helped me out here.
There you go. Yeah.
Oof! Oh, thank God, Life 3. So yeah, that certainly helped. Was finding Realm with throw, and I also had Setzer with fixed dice on that side because fixed dice never misses. So that deals with phase 2. But N Cross is always trolly, and you need to have some body armor in this seed to deal with Doom's physical counterattack. So he's been my problem statue. Gar, you said yours was goddess, right?
Mine was also goddess, yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. I guess it just depends on how you structure your parties, right?
Yeah,
So-
I'll remember from here on out. 2 years later.
Right?
So
I was
Sid,
trying to remember if you send a solo character to Goddess, will she do the charm? That's in the back of my head, but I didn't want to confirm it here.
She
Well-
will not charm, but she does still love token.
Ah, I love token. That'd do it.
Yeah. So one thing I pointed out to Gar, and I think Sid, I saw you do this too, is offering actually doesn't proc love token, or rather, offering goes through love token. So if you get love token on one of your characters and you use offering with the fight command, it actually doesn't hit the character that's supposed to protect goddess. So I know I saw you switch from using the offering to using ice magic or whatever. So
Yeah, I thought maybe that was the case. I just didn't want to test it since I was already halfway into a eligible.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Nobody War ran out of time at the very end for the first
just by,
fight.
like one attack too, because I was counting damage the same. Gosh.
And then both of you guys finished her off as the timer was counting down to 0 in the end screen. So it was pretty.
Great.
The-
That's amazing.
Like it was pretty nuts because Nobody War. I think you finished. You were the first in the tower for sure, but that
Yeah.
goddess fight definitely was. And the poltergeist fight was also a big problem, right? You guys were about a minute apart getting on the switches, so it was a really great climb up the tower to watch both of you finish within 30 seconds of one another or so.
Just a step back
The
and-
race spot is down, so it's
Yeah.
hard to tell.
I almost felt like I was a little underleveled still going in. Like, I went and killed that dragon in Zozo looking for an Esper because I wanted mute. I knew I had X-Zone. Like, my notes said mute and calmness, healing items. Like, don't forget
no.
this time. So,
I think Yak is
yeah,
gonna take the
I was
white
thinking
here.
about taking
Oof.
the
Rough. Sorry, please keep going.
Oh yeah, I was even thinking about hitting the Opera House Dragon up, and then like none of my routing routed the offering in, but like I was seriously thinking about going down there for it just for another dragon and levels at that point.
Yeah, that answers my quest. So that answers my potential question of why the heck is he going back to to Mount Zozo? Oh wait, he picked one of the most important espers out of Mount Zozo. So there, Schwantz told you.
Oh,
Yeah,
what Esper was it?
Fenrir.
Fenrir.
Oh, that would have been so nice.
Yep.
It's all right. I just life 3'd up anyway because I put it on. Obviously, I put it on the wrong character. I had
Yeah.
it on Shadow, throwing cat scratch around, and I couldn't pull it off on tier 3. But yeah.
So Sid, anything else in your run that you want to point out and highlight that we sort of missed here?
I mean, it was mostly just strings of bad RNG luck. Like, I'm not sure what RNG god I pissed off today, but it really did not want me to hit anything at any point.
Yep, set out your offerings and light some candles to your RNGesus for your next run.
Right?
Yep.
So Nobody War, same thing. Anything cool or interesting that we missed speaking about in your particular run?
I don't know. Probably my old habits of playing this game always like I beeline to the level 42 grind spot. And as you saw, like after I got out of Sealed Gate, did my World of Balance fights, like before I started doing fights in the World of Ruin, I went there and made sure I leveled up some characters with some magic and some good things. So it's always a nice spot if you know it's vanilla encounters
Yeah, because I
in
noticed
that
that.
forest.
I also noticed you went on the Leet River too. Like same thing,
Oh, I
easy
did
boss
that
at the
just for
end
the
and
lulz.
levels.
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't in my routing originally,
Okay.
and I just did it for the lulz for the stream.
There you go.
Being the people's champ.
Yep.
That's right.
Number 2 in the race room, but number 1 in our hearts. I like it.
It's true. Although Sid did kill Doomgaze, so
That is true.
I don't know.
Well, I had to reset out, right?
Yeah.
Or was that another?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, at the beginning, you ran right into him.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
super early. I'm so glad I saved.
That
Not
would
where you
have
want
been,
to see him.
yeah, that would have been a 6-minute
Yeah.
time loss if you didn't save. That would have been rough.
I ran a practice seed earlier this week, and I was like 18 minutes in, and he hit me, and I had to save for a while. It was like,
Ooh. Yeah, always like I used to tell my mentees, always save after every check.
Yeah.
Get in that habit. Save after every check and only menu when you're saving. Those are the mantras. Anyway, yeah. So Sid beat up Doomgaze. Nobody War did the Leet River, and Yakko Wacko is the real MVP because he did both the Leet River and he killed Magic Master.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
But I think he's the only one. He's the only one that found Berserk. He found Berserk on a Esper.
I had Berserk. I just didn't want to deal with the Magic Master.
Like, yeah, I believe Berserk is attached to Phantom.
Is it?
One of the earlier
Yeah, it
Espers we got.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate going to Magic Master if you have Berserk. You're gonna get 50 MP, and it's one of the bosses for the skip. I don't hate that. Anyway, Gar, you got any other questions?
I don't think so. Just want to thank you both again for putting on a fantastic race. I think I was less than a minute difference between the two of you, so that's just awesome to see. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for hosting and doing commentating. These are always a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing them.
Yeah, just echoing what Gar said, thank you guys for volunteering to be put on stream, especially with the last minute switch up, because originally we were going to do a completely different set of options. This was a radical difference from what we had projected. So I appreciate you guys. No, it's all good.
Thanks for the flexibility.
I appreciate your guys' flexibility in wanting to put on a show, because this was a lot. This ended up being a lot of fun to commentate and to go over different strategies, because I like talking about this game, and Gar is a willing listener. I swear he's not being held hostage by me. Just blink twice and let everybody see that you're okay.
Please get me out of here.
So no, yeah. Anything else, nobody more before we let you go?
Thank you guys again very much, Sid, Gar, Schwantz. Everybody tuned in tonight. Some more things going to be going on soon, so it's going to be real exciting.
Yeah, so even though this is a tournament of the month, we've been seeing a lot of things on the Worlds Collide Twitter at FF6_WC that are teasing some sort of new thing about people fighting one another. So who knows? Maybe that'll be some new event that we'll be putting on in the relative near future. So that should be exciting.
But who's to say? It could just be nothing. It could be extreme violence. We don't know. The only way you're going to find out is if you sign up.
Yeah, that's true. But what are we signing up for? Violence?
You're signing up to punch and/or get punched. Maybe.
Or maybe it's a selfie with the Warring Triad. That I could definitely put on my Instagram.
Ooh.
See, now would be a good time to plug an Instagram. Worlds Collide had one, but we don't. I should have thought about this a little bit more before I started talking. So. Yeah, so we've got Yakko. We've got Yakko here doing some more grinding. Because Guardian. We were saying, and Sid and Nobody War, you could also feel free to chime in. As we're not really going much of anywhere yet. I find that the statue bosses are much harder in this flag set because in almost all instances that we're used to, they're getting scaled down. Guardian, He's normally just an HP sponge, but in this, his attacks actually hurt you, especially if you let him get to the the Dataluma boss scripts, right? Which I think one of you two, we definitely saw that from.
I think I killed him before that.
I had to throw some tonics on himself. I don't know how far that was, but yeah.
Yeah.
Threw a mithril knife at Locke for 5,000 damage or whatever.
Just a big fat sit down.
Yeah. A casual 5K.
Nap time.
Yeah. So what did you guys think? Did you?
The seed.
Yeah. So all of the
magic besides fire.
Yeah, well, all of the Espers are vanilla with the spells they teach, so we were trying to argue over which is the most important between Phoenix and Triton.
Phoenix is a great pickup. Yeah. Madwin early is good too.
Yeah, unfortunately when I ran this, I did Magitech last, so I got Phoenix followed by Tritok as the very last ones. So I'm like, great, thanks.
Crazy Esper bonuses on my practice seats too, like a bunch of way high hit points and magic powers.
Oh, I know what Yakko's doing. I didn't even notice this until I looked at his party. He's leveling up his secondary characters to not be meat shields. This is interesting. I didn't even think about doing this.
It looks like he's only getting about 500 DXP a pop from these Slam Dancers.
Yeah.
So
not very efficient. Very quick, but not very efficient.
Quick, but not very efficient. Exactly.
Yep. All right, so let's see what time we got. So we've got about 15 minutes left of our slot here. We'll probably let everybody go in a couple of minutes. Do we have any other things to chat about, Sid and Nobody War? Anything else you want to discuss before we let you go?
There's a marathon coming up this weekend.
That's right. Yeah, on Saturday. It is. You could explain it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so it's Fastest Furs. They're raising money for Trans Lifeline.
That's right.
I think is the name of the charity. Trans Lifeline is a very phenomenal cause, something that I personally believe very strongly in. So, Final Fantasy Worlds Collide has a slot there. I believe the slot starts at 1 o'clock Eastern. And be aware that because of the nature of marathons, that might slip by a couple of minutes or move up by a couple of minutes. So, if you want to watch, please keep yourself posted. Both Sid and myself will be racing along with fellow community members Squack McQuack and Lunar Chimera. So, should be a great race to watch. You will not want to miss it.
Very cool. You guys obviously have practice for this. What do we expect in terms of the options here for the race? Obviously, it's going to be very different than what we just saw.
Yeah, she'll be very close to standard Ultra Sleek flags with 6 characters, 9 espers, with a lot of incentives that aren't normally Ultra Sleek things, like save or kill Sid, for instance.
In the game, right? Just to be clear.
Just to be clear, yeah, not me.
Sure.
All right, just want to double check that. Because otherwise I know where I'm spending my money. I mean...
And I believe there's also an incentive for us to do the Opera House. That is the singing portion of it, although I won't be singing, so I apologize. But do the Opera House, maybe help us out. We get a free high tier item as a result of it, so... and big shout out to community member Hefe01 for testing some of these flags. It looks like there's one, a great candidate that was already sent up to Sablewolf, who is kind of orchestrating this whole thing. Big shout outs to him as well. So we will have a seed. Hopefully that seed is good.
That's what I've heard. It's a good one.
I guess we'll find out in a couple days, right?
Right.
Yep. So how is Yakko's party doing here? Oh, he's decided
There's
he's
the
done.
warp out. Yeah.
You know what's funny? There's that dude behind the bar just witnessing like mass amounts of people getting killed in his spar. Like, I
No,
think
he's
that'll
not.
get your liquor license revoked.
He didn't see anything.
Nothing, absolutely nothing at all.
Zozo.
That is true. It is Zozo. Nice people here.
Great people there.
Or so one of the NPCs tells you. Clearly, that NPC is also lying. All right, so it looks like we're diving back into KT here.
So one thing that we didn't talk about with the skip is that you will only get one shot, so do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a seed. Yo,
Ooh.
no.
Listen, you weren't here when we were doing all the musical puns before, right?
Fair enough. I'll catch him on the second time around. I'll
That's
watch it back.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna spill the
item I
beans.
think in the skip is that. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say a stupid joke. I'll say it later.
No, it's that fifth or fourth line in there. It's the random boss. Like it was hide on for this one, which is great.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
easy
yeah.
in and out there.
Yeah,
Except for
it's
RNG
the
twists.
random boss in this one that's the big thing for the skip, I think. Unless you like want to run all the way up there and punch Maiji Master, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, I had Haydn planned into my regular route anyway, so I had to go find another boss to go kill. But yeah, that was still very nice.
Yeah, easy ones.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, yes, you do RNG cave, and I was actually doing RNG cave with the Moogle Charm off because there's also a lot of undead enemies in there. I saw Sid, you went into Ebbett's Rock and did that, right? Lots of undead enemies in Ebbett's Rock to do that. Not Ebbett's Rock, Daryl's Tomb.
Daryl's Tomb, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
surprisingly not as much experience as you would expect
Yeah,
compared to like a Sealed Gate.
which is insane to me because right, Daryl's Tomb's in the World of Ruin, so you expect the monsters to give you more XP, but that's not the
That's
case.
not really how it works.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, it's strange.
I mean, logically, in the like story progression, Daryl's Tomb's not that far after Sealed Gate. Like, what, 5 bosses, 6 bosses, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to think what's after Sealed Gate,
Yeah,
right?
After the tower. And then
Well,
it's
after
Moogle.
Sealed Gate is Floating Continent, right? And that's the end of the first half of the game.
Well, I think it's Thalmasa after that, right?
Is it
Yeah,
is
Burning House.
Oh no, wait, hang on. No.
Leo
So-
dies
so
in
we
there?
haven't
at some
played Vanilla
point?
in forever
Sorry,
now?
spoiler alert to people in the chat in this 28-year-old game.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm going to spoil the game. Yeah, because after Sealed Gate, that's the Espers all come out and they torch Vector.
Then you do the banquet
You
scene.
do the banquet, then you go to Thamasa, you do the Burning House, and then you go to the Floating Continent.
Oh, you mean you learn the best fire spell, Flames Be Gone?
Flames be gone!
Yeah, Burning House
That
and
reminds me, I'm pretty
Floating
sure I learned
Continent.
Ultimate this seed and never used it.
I didn't think Ultimate Flag was
Was it
even
on?
on.
I thought I saw it pop up. I could be wrong.
Let's see. Other. No, it's definitely not.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
on. So
It
the
was
Ragnarok
like some
Esper, I
other
think this
weird
gives you
spell. Yeah.
some level up bonus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. A 70% chance at a level up bonus. But anyway, yeah, because you only need 3 characters in World of Ruin, right? You need Celeste, you need Edgar, and you need Setzer, and you can
need
beat the
Setzer.
game that way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So we are approaching the top of the hour here. I was gonna spill the beans about the next event. It's actually a Final Fantasy freestyle battle.
Oh no.
Vote for DJ Garbage. That's me, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm Nursery Rhymes. But yeah, Yakko getting another weapon to the face here.
You have to get with the times. Everything has a Lil in front of it now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Your little nursery rhymes.
Little Garbage.
Yeah, a little garbage. Just a little bit.
Small.
Just a small amount of garbage.
Big gulp cup.
You could use Tiny Trash as your ad lib. Get that alliteration going.
PT. Oh goodness.
Anyway, yeah, I think we're pretty much done here. Gar, do you have any other thoughts before? Yes, we are done with Guardian. Very, very nice for Yakko.
Good job, Yakko.
We are going to toss you over to wherever SpeedGaming decides to raid. But you could also, if you want to see Yakko finish out the seed and cheer him on, that is his link there. That's our links for commentary. Anything else, Gar?
Not for me. I hope everybody has a good night. If you're so inclined, please go share on Yakko Wacko 20. He is about done. It should be finishing up here in about 15 to 20 minutes or so. But other than that, thank you so much to SpeedGaming for hosting us.
Yeah, so we will be back next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, on one of the SpeedGaming family of networks. We don't know which one it is yet, but we definitely post in our Discord whenever we are having our events, so make sure you're there. Saturday, Gar and Sid will be involved in a charity stream, so I believe Sid posted the link in the chat somewhere. So thank you guys for volunteering to do some charity work. I'm sure that's not part of your parole or anything. But anyway, we're gonna leave you with that.
We don't talk about that.
I mean, we're talking about killing Sid potentially as an incentive, so I know you guys have done some time somewhere.
I didn't volunteer for this. Not that incentive.
Save him instead. You can use your dollars to vote for it.
There you go. So, anyways, boys and girls, thank you for showing up and hanging out, and we'll see everybody on the next one. Bye-bye now.
Everybody.